Masters Championship. We have made it. It is round 6. We are here in Poland at the PGE Narodowy to see who is going to be crowned the champion of Drift Masters this evening. Now, 2 drivers in the paddock that have been feeling a little bit nervous, a little bit excited. James Dean, now he managed to clinch joint second with Toran and Kavir last night in the qualifying. And now Lauri Heinonen. He managed to get 7th in qualifying yesterday, so he needs to make sure that he solidifies those points and his lead going into the top 32 this afternoon. Now, wow, this stadium, we've got to talk about it. Over 50,000 fans are going to be joining us in the house tonight. Can you believe it? Drifting has come so far. Honestly, the energy is electric in here. As you can see behind me, the track is being wet because we have had to make a change. We're expecting a huge thunderstorm, so to keep the conditions consistent over the weekend, we are working with a wet track, which is giving our drivers all kinds of different conditions. So we're going to have a very exciting afternoon. Let's take a look at our calendar right now. We've had 6 stops this season, starting with Spain, then moving on to Ireland, then into Finland, then we went into Latvia, then Hungary, which was a new round for us, and now we find ourselves in the final spot. Lauri managed to grab himself 2 wins, James got himself 1, a 2nd and a 3rd, so podiums all round. But the points are going to come down this evening. This is where it's all going to be decided. But if you didn't catch what happened in Hungary, make sure you check out all that action right now and get yourself up to speed. Check this out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the penultimate round of the 2024 Drift Masters season, and things are heating up here in Hungary as we are at one of the most unique tracks on the calendar. The temperatures have been soaring all weekend, and so has the anticipation for this, the most, I think, important round of the season so far, because this is where championship hopes are going to be created or destroyed. Conor Shannon, 2023 Drift Masters champion, goes up against the champion wannabe, Dwayne McKeever. He's had a lot of 2nd and 3rds and 4ths in this championship for the last couple of years. Here we go as they go into that first corner. Conor Shannon throws in, and Dwayne McKeever, oh, close transition from McKeever as he almost takes the back bumper off Conor Shannon's car as they come through there. McKeever shuts down, has an issue, and I cannot believe, but McKeever's car just gave way. Pazur wants to beat Dean. He's sick of losing to him, and he's got the machinery and the bravery to do it, but it'll be knife edge, and it probably slightly out of control.
Pazur looks like maybe he has got all the grip. Nice line so far, though, on outside zone 2, as Dean now starts to get himself back into the mix. Into the wall they go, and that was dangerous from Kevin Pazur, but he makes it work. They come through into the outside zone, and Dean's planted. Oh, but Dean shuts it down! Dean shuts it down, and Kevin Pazur drives away with it.
This track is particularly bad with big chunks of rubber on the track, and unfortunately my front tyre picked up a big lump of rubber.
Pascalti wants to win it for the Hungarian crowd in attendance. Lauri Heinonen wants to win it for the Finnish fans that have travelled to every single round this year.
Through the gears, down through the chicane they come. Look at Pascalti onto the back bumper already. Heinonen throws in that big flamboyant initiation, and it works for him once again. Pascalti deals with it, creeps up the inside. Pascalti knows what Lauri Heinenen's all about. Look at Pascalti onto the front wheel for contact. And Pascalti has to shut it down. Heinonen continues to run. Pascalti gets back into it, but Pascalti made his own mistake.
Lauri Heinonen goes through. Well, that leaves us with 1 ball left to go, and it is for top step on the podium. Let's head straight to the final. Heinonen in the lead as the higher qualifier, Kavir in the chase, and here we go.
Through the gears, down, no messing around. Big opposite flick from Lauri Heinonen, and Kavir deals with it. And look at Kavir glued to the door of the other S13 as they fire across the circuit. Kavir now waits for the transition. Heinonen gets himself into the wall. So does Kavir. No messing around though. Back out of it again as they go deep. And Kavir goes for an early transition. Up onto the door he goes as Heinonen drags him across the line.
That's absolutely insane. Lauri Heinonen has won it. He's won the event. He can't believe it. My goodness, what a night. These are the best of the best, and I don't think anyone can argue that from any side of the world.
All right, so that's all the action there from Hungary. Let's take a look at our championship driver standings right now. So obviously we have Lauri Heinonen sitting out front with 389 points. James Dean in second with 321. third, Dwayne McKeever with 312, followed by Connor Shanahan and Kevin Pesser. I've just jumped down to the paddock. I've actually ran, that's why I'm so out of breath, to catch up with Lauri Heinonen, because yesterday we had qualifying. You found yourself sitting in 7th position. This track is throwing up a few situations for our drivers that, shall we say, is a little bit unpredictable at times, as we saw on that inner clip there.
Yeah, because we got to do the wet training like before, and it was kind of deceiving because we were running the same gear ratio than on the dry. It was so grippy, and then going into the qualifications, it started to get sketchy. And we were running still the high-speed gear ratio, so yeah, it was just too much wheel speed and too much for me to handle. So yeah, it went not so good.
So last night, obviously the crew will be checking over the car, making sure everything is working in tip-top condition, and we can hear that NASCAR V8 screaming in the stadium. Is she in perfect working order right now?
No, not at all. Yeah, we have a little bit of situation there. It was cylinders were full of water on the morning, so let's see how long she will run.
So, I mean, I want to talk about the championship. I know that you may be just thinking, you know what, Becky, it's just another day, it's another race, we're going to treat it just like that. But you have got a good lead right now in the points, and you are looking very, very likely. It's between yourself and James Dean pretty much mathematically right now. You need to get past your top 16 battle. Are you feeling that pressure?
Yeah, I'm feeling the pressure. Pressure suits me, I think. I do better when under pressure, but still I'd like to be the underdog. But we just have to focus on our own thing and try to push until the win.
Well, we're wishing you the very best of luck, Lauri, and good luck in your top 32 battle. All right then, guys, let's walk directly across the paddock here. We can see all the fans joining us. It's amazing to see so many people. As I said, 50,000 people are going to be joining us in the stadium. I can't tell you how much that adds to the energy of this place. I'm so happy to see that round 6 has become so busy. Drifting is growing. But speaking of growing, James Dean. There's one man that isn't going to grow anymore. Here we go. James, you obviously had the qualifying and the qualifying showdown last night. Found yourself in joint 2nd position, came 2nd in the qualifying showdown. It's looking good.
Looking very good. Yeah, so a great start to the event for us last night, and it was great to drive on this track, like under pressure, under full competition pressure, because we had a tough battle with Thor, and it was really good, really close, and also really close battle with Dwayne. So very enjoyable, even though, you know, there was 25,000 people in there last night. The atmosphere was mind-blowing. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like tonight. So I'm feeling good. The car is running amazingly. The team are working great, and we're just going to give it our best and see what happens.
How was practice out there this morning? I know you obviously had some twinning battles. Everybody's kind of getting amped up, but I know practice could be a sketchy place because sometimes push a little bit too hard.
Yeah, so it was quite interesting, actually, because my first practice run, I was a few cars after they wet the track, so it was kind of more similar to last night. And in my second practice run, it was just after they watered the track, and I could feel the difference of the conditions. So it is going to be tricky to see where you come out for your pair because the track conditions keep on changing. So it's something that we all have to adapt to, and just, you know, hopefully it all works out. You know, you cannot hold back because you're going to get beat. So everyone's going to push hard. It's still going to be an amazing show for the fans, and I think this is going to be one for the history books for sure.
Now we've got to just talk very quickly about the championship. Mathematically, it is still a possibility, but you have to really push and go all the way this evening. Do you think you can do it?
I think we can do it. Definitely think we can do it. You know, you need a bit of luck along the way, like every good result at events. And so I definitely think we can do it. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. But I'm ready to push. I'm ready to take some risks. And most importantly, I just want to enjoy this event because this is so special for drifting. And, you know, we've all come so far as series, as drivers, as teams, as fans. And I want to just try to enjoy the event more so than worrying about the final result. So I'm here to enjoy it.
Well, good luck, James Dean, in your top 32 battle with Ite Sada. I'm sure we will be having a chat with you later. Right then, that's enough of me. Up to our commentators, Dave Egan and Ian Waddington, to give you a lowdown on how today is going to stack up. But I'm going to run back inside the stadium because it is going to be my favourite place to be this evening. I cannot wait to see what happens. Guys, let's go.
Thank you, Becky, and thank you everyone for joining us. We are here a very special and momentous occasion for drifting once again, as 50,000 fans come into this amazing stadium. Now remember, this isn't a race circuit. This is custom built in 72 hours for this particular purpose, and then by tomorrow it will all have disappeared as if it never happened. But what is going to happen in those couple of hours is we are going to crown a 2024 Drift Masters champion. We're going to have the most amazing fans from all over the globe joining us online and here in person, and we are ready to make history once again at Drift Masters. My name is Dave Egan. I'm joined as always by my good friend Ian Waddington on the mic. We're going to talk you through all of the action today, and hopefully we can keep up because it's going to come thick and fast, Ian.
It certainly is, Dave. It's going to be thick and fast. There's going to be a lot of maths going on behind the scenes, and everything kind of comes down to top 32. Mathematically, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to let other people deal with that. We're just going to work through this one because I think every battle, every run is going to be like a final. The guys are unbelievable, but we're not the guys that have got decided, Dave. It's got to be our judges.
Absolutely. Our judges are going to be basically taking names. I'm seeing who goes through to the next stage of competition, and they're going to explain to you guys exactly how you win and lose here at Drift Masters. Head judge this weekend, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin, interesting track. It never existed 3 days ago, and now you got to decide a winner on it.
Absolutely, Dave, and it is a very, very interesting track. It may look relatively simple, but this is an extremely technical circuit. And of course, as us judges, as always, we are being extremely technical in the way we analyze it. But from watching practice, we are going to have some amazing battles because people are getting absolutely door on door right from that initiation point. Of course, we will always be looking for the same criteria. For our lead driver, we'll be looking for them to hit all of those clipping zones, maintain nice consistent angle throughout the track, and do so that the chase car can follow, means making as very little mistakes as physically possible. But of course, we all want to see those amazing chase runs. And what we're going to be looking for from those chase drivers is to maintain as close proximity for as long as possible, initiate no later than the lead driver, match or better the lead driver's angle. That's going to be really important here, and of course mimic those transitions throughout the lead driver's line.
Thank you, Kev. Sounds easy. Guarantee it's not, because everybody's going to struggle, because also one of the little twists here this weekend has been the wetting of the surface of the track. Now you might be wondering why. Well, rain and storms expected here. We had to wet the track, and this is the track that those drivers will have to negotiate. It looks like an 8, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. You got to initiate on the wall for your first 2 outer zones. You see them marked by the yellow paint on the wall. So wherever there's yellow paint, they want to be as close as possible to those walls without hitting them. Inside zone, we got a second inside zone here on the wall. That's insane, but everyone loves it. And we got some more wall runs here, as you can take it all the way out to those outer zones. And we want to see the car really close to the wall, but not buried in it. Judges will deduct for that. Then it's the only clipping zone not on a wall in the middle of the track, as you transition the opposite way to put the left-hand side of the car on the wall for the last corner. Get it up close and personal with those walls, and the chase car trying to get as close as possible without making any major contact. It is a very technical track. The surface conditions are wet every 15 or 20 minutes or so. To stay wet for this is obviously keep the smoke down in the arena, because the fire alarm systems will be set off, and the roof needs to be closed because the weather is very unpredictable, blustery, and expected heavy rainfall later today. So let's have a quick look at this, what's ahead of us today, and this is what's going to be a very interesting top 32. Amazing drivers left and right. We'll talk you through it all, but the big battles we got to look at is the first one. Dwayne McKeever, if he loses his battle in the top 32, his championship run race is over. If we go to James Dean, similar against Ete Sada, if he loses that battle, his championship run is over. Laurie Heinen must win his battle if he has everyone else still in the mix, and Laurie Heinen against Adam Zalewski will be the highlight battle of this top 32. Laurie Heinen wins that, he's one step closer to the championship. If he loses it, he opens the door for Dean and McKeever at that point. That is how we stand in the championship, but we've got 32 of the best from all across the globe mixed together, tons of different machinery, color schemes, backgrounds, ability, and it's all here in the stadium for your entertainment for the rest of this competition. As you can see on the track, first 2 battles are warming up, and again a championship battle is on the line. Dwayne McKeever, well, that mechanical failure in Hungary has put him way back in the order. He was on the charge. He could have got to the podium, but he didn't. And now he's got to fight from the back. And this is the toughest place for Dwayne McKeever of the season. If he loses to Bagsy here, he's out. Well, the tension is rising. The crowd are getting packed into the stadium, and we are ready to send it for our top 32. We begin as the story continues with the championship on the line. Dwayne McKeever, #1 qualifier last night, wins the showdown. However, he goes up against Steve Bagsy Biagioni, who is an expert at these tight technical wall run circuits. Bagsy's scraping into qualifying at 32, but don't make that any sort of a prediction of what's going to happen here, because Bagsy, one of the best chase drivers in the world. This is a huge battle for McKeever. He's got a massively experienced opponent beside him, and this is how we're going to kick off the final round of the year. McKeever representing Ireland, Bagsy representing the UK. Two different cars, different power plants, but two single mindsets win this battle and progress to the biggest top 16 of the year. For McKeever, it's all on the line for the championship. For Bagsy, redemption after a season that didn't go the way he wanted to. Laser focus from both drivers. Drift Masters finale here in Poland is ready to go, and Marcin, our starline marshal, gives the thumbs up to the drivers, and this is it, the big one. Top 32, McKeever versus Bagsy.
And here we go, no messing around, straight off the line and through the gears, and McKeever already starts to pour on Bagsy as they fire through. Bagsy now takes that inside line, nice initiation. Bagsy jumps straight up onto the door. That top place qualifying run from McKeever will be easy to chase around this circuit. Bagsy gets the transition time nicely as McKeever now dives into this long outside zone. He opens the door for Bagsy. Bagsy creeps up into the door, a little waver from McKeever there. Looks like he was going to hit the wall, but he avoided that contact. Bagsy sticks with him right through the centre of the circuit. Times the transition well now as Bagsy takes another bite, another dive onto the side. McKeever into the wall, Bagsy into the wall. Both guys taking panels off the car as they come across the line.
Oh, well, we expected a hot and heavy run. That's what we got. And you know what? There's some errors from both drivers across the run. We'll be able to break it down in the replay. A couple of hits where you can see the panels on the back of the car shredded. I don't think we're going to see any back panels on any cars by the end of tonight, that's for sure. Look, to me, Bagsy just waited for McKeever to make the move on the initiation. Came in late on initiation, but made it work. Got into the pocket. McKeever's lead run has been, laser focused from qualifying. Really solid here. Bagsy doing a good job in the chase run, not over committing. You can also make contact with the lead car very easily here, so you don't want to throw it away that way. Look at this, both cars very close to the wall. McKeever a foot off the wall the whole way around there, which was really nice driving in that lead position. Bagsy in the pocket. This is where Bagsy, I think, makes a little error. He hesitates on the transition just a little bit. He backs off, hits the handbrake here, and when he gets back on it, the car is washing quite wide and he gets into the wall. So does McKeever. So judges might look at it like McKeever led Bagsy that direction, or both drivers made independent mistakes. Other than that, I think that was pretty solid from both drivers there.
Yeah, exactly that, David. That's exactly what we expected from Dwayne McKeever, that clean lead line, but there were a few hiccups in there. He did hit the wall on that first outside zone as well, tagged the rear wheel on there, the car bobbled a little bit. Judges will be looking at every single mistake, because these guys are going to be so close that one little bobble, one little mistake, that could knock you out of the battle.
Well, with McKeever now, championship on the line. If he loses this battle, he's out of the championship race and will have to settle for third or fourth or whatever it may be in the championship. So he's got to beat Bagsy here, and Bagsy's put in a phenomenal chase run. The spotters will be on the radio saying, Dwayne, this is the time to go for it. You've got to go close, and he is going close. Big angle from McKeever in the chase position here, but Bagsy looks like he's got a little shallow angle, but a little bit more pace. McKeever's going to have to start making a move, and he does a phenomenal transition up onto the back bumper and gets into the pocket. Bagsy in that lead position doing nothing wrong at the moment. Look how but there's a mistake. Bagsy hits the wall a little too heavy, but gets away with it. McKeever backs off, but now jumps back up into the pocket. Just pieces of tail light flying all over the track as they run over their own debris, and McKeever just not quite having the proximity at the end, but Bagsy making a big error towards the end of the run. So that one's going to be close.
That's got a very close battle there, Dave. I'd like to see a replay of that. There was, Bagsy was absolutely clinical on some of those wall runs. He was right in the pocket. We know these GT86 chassis are short. They're hard to get onto the wall. Bagsy did a phenomenal job there of putting the car on the wall without making contact with the rear wheel. It was a nice lead line from Bagsy. There was that mistake, though, on that outside zone. Let's take a look back at the replay. Big handbrake drag for Bagsy, but he gets into the outside zone nice and early. McKeever takes that opportunity to dive onto the door, and the lead line from Bagsy was phenomenal. And it just opened the door, really, for McKeever to take that chase. Look at this. Boom. Nice transition from McKeever there on the handbrake as he dives into this zone.
I think he had to do it. He lost a bit of ground over that first corner, so he got back into it, and this is really good from Bagsy here in the lead run. Right out in a very short wheelbase car to the wall, but he hits it just at the end heavy here, and this is a mistake. Look, he doesn't really affect the car massively. I think all that debris was from the signage rather than the car itself. But McKeever loses a bit of ground at that point. You can see Bagsy still shredding off the pieces of the sign, and McKeever gets back. This for me was another mistake from Bagsy as he comes through the last corner here. It looks like he's just almost going to win the wall. Has to back off the angle a little bit, but this is super close. Very close battle between these two guys. McKeever's championship hopes are on the line. Let's see which way it goes. And he's still in the mix. Dwayne McKeever gets the win and goes to the top 16. Bagsy bows out. And I'm just get a quick word from you, Kevin. Very quickly, very close battle, but what did it come down to?
It really all came down to the lead runs, Dave. Both having mistakes on that lead run, making it a little bit difficult for the chase driver to chase. But overall, if you look at it, Dwayne had 1 wall hit and Bagsy had 3 wall hits overall. So just Dwayne having a slightly better lead run overall, taking it.
Yeah, not much in it, but Dwayne McKeever just about doing enough to stay in the conversation as they head back to the pits. We move it on to our next. The Irish fans are happy. One of their boys is into the top 16. Look at that. Bit of relief as well. I think they knew Bagsy pushed Dwayne McKeever very close to the edge there. And we're getting warmed up in here. The atmosphere is starting to build. The seats are starting to fill up.
The seats are starting to fill now, Dave, as well.
And we now move on to another battle. Ryusei Akiba, his first battle in Drift Masters, struggled a lot this season with the change of style from Japan to Europe. He got a 90 qualifying yesterday. He said he's really feeling comfortable on the track. He said, I haven't had a chance to show my chase ability this year. And now Juha Rintanen, one of the biggest names in the game in Europe, is his first opponent in Drift Masters battle. So not an easy one. Juha looked very, very solid all season. Maybe by his standards, outside the top 10, not where he wants to be. But he's going to have to go through Ryusei here to make sure he gets that top 10 finish at the end of the season. And this is going to be an interesting one. We've never seen these two guys do battle before. So we are as clueless as you guys as what's about to happen for the next couple of minutes.
Going to be going through the gears down now through that start line as they come through. No chicane for this round because they have to cross back over. And it was a late initiation from Juha Rintanen. But look at the angle from Ryusei Akiba as he puts the back bumper to the wall. Nice lead line so far from Akiba. And now Rintanen starts to make a charge. Now he starts to find the side of that green and yellow S15 as Akiba starts to pull away a little bit. It's starting to find some pace. Shallows up the angle. Nice line through the outside zone as he comes through the centre of the circuit. And Akiba doing an incredible job in the lead here at the moment as he now creates a really nice arc. Hardly any braking as he gets into the outside zone. Gets there a little late. But nothing really from Rintanen at the moment. No fight, no push onto the door that we'd expect.
Well, I didn't expect it. I'm always talking at length about Juha Rintanen, the fastest man on the track, but in the when you have the wet surface, things kind of change up a little bit, right? Because all that horse
equals the plane.
Yeah, because that horsepower advantage doesn't really matter.
Hey, you want to know some inside information?
I'd love to, Ian.
You love it, Dave. I've been down in the paddock hanging around with the guys as I like to. A lot of these guys turning the boost down on their car, detuning the engines so that they're not over spinning the tyres so they get more grip. How about that?
Well, there you go. That's it.
So if they've been running like 1,000 horsepower all year, they're now saying they're going down to like 700-800.
Yeah, because they don't need it because it's not getting them any more momentum. And it looked to me like the balance, from both drivers was pretty good. I just didn't see any major dives from Juha Rintanen there. He was in the conversation, no major errors in the lead or the chase. But that proximity we saw between McKeever and Bagsy just not there on that particular battle.
I kind of wanted to see Rintanen, put the tyre on the door, the exclamation mark as we like to call it, across the line, the finish line, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, well now we get to turn him around. Ryusei Akiba, well, we've never seen him chase in Drift Masters, and he's been known all over Japan for his wild style, so let's see if that could be a help or a hindrance here against Juha Rintanen as they go through the gears and into the first corner.
Well, he goes to take a big lump out the side of Rittenen's car and almost puts himself into the wall and Rintanen, but they both survived that first long outside zone. Now they come through a little knockdown of the cone for Akiba. He's a little bit greedy on that inside zone, now makes a dive onto the door, but the proximity's there for Ryusei Akiba as he now follows Rintanen through this long outside zone. He's buried onto the door of Juha Rintanen. As Rintanen looks for this outside zone, we wait for the transition back, and it's nice from Akiba. That was absolutely beautiful from Ryusei Akiba. A little nudge onto the side of Juha Rintanen just to let him know he's still in the fight and he's still in it as they come across the line.
I'll be honest, there's a lot to talk about there because I don't think some of those hits on Juha Rintanen definitely a mistake from Ryusei Akiba getting too close. Yeah. But then he did have the proximity where Juha Rintanen didn't hit anything but didn't get close. So I don't know what way the judges will look at that. Yes, you have look at that initiation from Ryusei Akiba.
Beautiful. He does touch him though, Dave.
And he kind of has to correct a little bit on it. So he has the moments of brilliance, but they do come at the expense of some mistakes.
I tell you what though, I think the judges are going to look at breaking into that first outside zone. They're going to look at where the position of Rintanen was. I think this isn't going to be as clear cut as we think.
No, I think if you look at the two runs, Rintanen far more consistent across the two runs. Yeah. There's no question. Ryusei, from my perspective here, moments of genius, and then he follows them up with a mistake.
I think this is going to be a learning tool for us because it's going to be.
Will the judges reward the
aggression
or the aggressiveness,
or having the proximity, or staying smooth and consistent? Will they reward a driver for taking those little bites out the side of the car,
or taking the risk?
I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, so
and we're going to learn real quick here how
we're going to know which way is rewarded and which way isn't rewarded. I'm going to love to have a little chat with Kevin at the end of this one because this is great because we get to learn as we go through the competition. Is that wild style, that on the door, bumping and grinding, going to do the work, or is it about that smooth consistency in the lead and the chase? And as Juha Rintanen and Ryusei Akiba await the result, let's see which way this one goes. And Juha Rintanen gets the win. Juha Rintanen goes through to the top 16. A valiant effort from Jussi Kuba, who finally got to put a little bit of a show on in the chase position. Kevin, quick one from you. We were talking about it. You can be aggressive, but you can also be overly aggressive, right?
Absolutely, Dave. And for that battle, it really all comes down to mistakes. Juha being his usual clinical self, and unfortunately, Jussi just pushing a little bit too hard, especially on that chase run. You guys might not have spotted it at home, but there was actually contact on the initiation that we saw there affecting Juha's line, and also there was contact at the very end as well. So even though he was very close, those are deductions as well. And overall, then Juha, as I said, being the cleaner of the two drivers and taking away the win because of it.
Thanks, Kev. So you want to be close, but not too close that you're affecting the lead car and making contact.
So I guess pushing the door in, flexing the panels is what they want to see, but they don't want to see you
affecting the lead car. Yeah. So here's two absolute lunatics now.
They're going to affect each other's lead car.
This is what I've been looking forward to. So we have got two of the wildest drivers on the grid. Marko Zakrov from the Czech Republic, he was in the pits pumping himself up on his own earlier on. He was that wild. And then you've got this guy, Timo Peltola, up on the roof of the car every time he gets a win or a loss. Diesel-powered 5.5 bar of boost in that Mercedes wagon, chasing down one of I think the fastest cars on the grid, that BMW M2 of Zakrov. But when it goes, because it has issues every now and again. Both of these guys have had a season full of issues. But let's see if there's any issues when they go head-to-head here in Poland.
And look at this from Peltola. Straight line initiation, waits for Zakril to get it done. Now they both get into the outside zone. Really nice from Zakril in the lead at the moment. Wait for that transition through that inner zone. It's good from both of them now. Peltola starts to make a little dive, but he's lost some ground from Zakril. We know Zakril's fast, but the torque from that diesel engine is now forcing Timo Peltola onto the door, and there's a small wobble there from Marko Zakril as they fire through. They look for the second to last outside zone. The wobble once again from Zakril is not clean, and look at the line from Peltola in the chase. It's absolutely beautiful.
Do you know what? There was a lot of errors, front and rear there, because I'll tell you what, there was moments where I thought both were going to spin and they got away with it. So I expect a wild style. We got a wild style.
Yeah, we got a wild style. Timo Peltola said to me that yes, it's massively horsepower, but he said the benefit that he has over everyone else on this track is the amount of torque that the diesel engine produces. He said, I can drive this thing around here all day.
You can probably drift this track on idle.
And I can go so fast. He said, the problem I have is chasing some of these guys, I push the throttle and the car just drives across the circuit.
Well, this is, I mean, up till now, Peltola not making a huge, jump up onto Zakrov, but here he starts to really wind it in. You can see the laser focus as he plays with the left foot braking there. He's looking at on the brake, not the clutch, and then as he transitions through, he's pretty close. However, Zakril makes errors. He hits the wall, he backs off, there's a couple of errors in the lead. I think this one's very much in the balance. I think there was definite mistakes on both sides. I think if one of these drivers come out here and demand a really good lead or chase, they're going to take the battle.
I mean, for me, Peltola's chase, the line was so good.
It was good, but we didn't have the proximity.
No.
But Zakril now will know that. If he goes for
see that on the written battle.
Fair point. I don't know if Zakril can see where he's going. There's that much black smoke getting pushed back towards him. Here we go. Second run of this one. Peltola in the lead, Zakril diving in, tentative from Zakril, doesn't want to give away too much at the start, and now he gets up onto the Peltola's line, really nice in the lead run there as he takes it to the edge of the circuit, transitioning back, that big Mercedes swinging from side to side. Zakril makes a very big dive, darts up onto the door, exactly what the judges want to see, and no contact from either drivers at the moment. This is clean, this is good drifting right now as they come through the center section, a little wide from Peltola, but he makes it work. Zakril gets through, but it's very shallow, and Zakril late, and you can see it, mistimed it, spun himself out. That is a big moment, and I wonder has Timo Peltola taken it. We'll have a look back at the replay to see if anything else happened in the braking area of that shot. But it looked to me like Zakril sort of darted in on shallow angle, and then all of a sudden had to dial it all out. Yeah,
and Timo Peltola will know nothing about that. That was a big mistake. I'm interested to see the replay from the drone, and that's what we're going to get. Look at this as they come through. Peltola's lead line was so clean. Watch this though as he transitions back. Zakril goes for a big dive on the door. Yeah, look at the amount he has to brake, and then he throws the car on an angle, and he's like, I'm in the wrong place. And it's already too late at that point, Dave.
I think he went in to try and he was on the attack, but he right about here he realizes I'm on very shallow angle. So if the lead driver, I mean it's physics, he's on big angle, you're on shallow angle, you're going faster. So I think he expected Peltola to be gone a little quicker than he was, and then as he comes in he realizes, I'm going to hit him here, so I've got to back off. So he's either hitting him or hitting the wall or spinning out, and that's I think what happened. Now judges can look at it one way or the other. Look at all the bits and pieces of car. I mean, there's going to be some yard sale at the end of this event. There's a lot of pieces of car everywhere. Well, the two guys are out of the car. Timo Peltola. He could be the first person to ever make a top 16 with a mullet. That could be something that happens this weekend.
It could be something that we've never seen before.
And but Marko Zakril, I mean, looking at the body language, you see a sort of forlorn Zakril and a smiling Peltola, so maybe they're predicting this one themselves, and that might tell the story as well. So let's see which way it goes. Top 16. And Timo Peltola from Finland gets it. He's going back up there again.
He's on there.
He fell off.
Oh,
he's fallen into the scoop on the roof of the bonnet. He's broken his leg. He's barely made it, and he fell off the car in Riga, fell off the car here in Poland. But you know what? He's into the top 16. What an entertainer. What a showman. And I don't think we've ever seen a diesel car in the top 16 of a stadium event in Drift Masters. We'll get a replay of this. He forgot there was an event there.
Whoa.
He fell into it, and he won't mind. He's very happy.
He's a
very happy man. I'll tell you what. Timo Peltola is just a big bag of emotion with a very small cap on the bottle. It just flies off. It just flies off.
It's like a bottle of fizzy drink, and you're just dropping Mentos into it. Just boom.
There goes Timo Peltola. We're happy to see him in the top 16. Commiserations to Marco Zaccarello. Kevin, a simple one there. Just Zaccarello coming in too hot and spinning out.
Absolutely, Dave. It was a relatively simple call when we had a look back over the replay. It looks like Marco just came in a little bit too hot. Timo seemed to be fulfilling his lead driver goals. He had one smooth deceleration into that deceleration zone coming into outer zone 6. So from our point of view, it was 100% Marco Zaccarello at fault for that.
Well, there you go. An easy call.
An easy call. And the tractor
I'm sure they'll all be
circuit.
super easy for the whole rest of the night. Those judges, they'll be under no pressure whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here it is. I mean, there's a lot of people in the crowd that are more impressed with this particular vehicle. The most expensive vehicle on the circuit this weekend is the Fendt tractor. Almost 400,000 euro. The guy's getting passenger rides now. He's doing. Anyone, if you want to go for a passenger ride on the Fendt tractor, it's a much less exhilarating experience.
Yeah.
Much smoother, but it's longer. You get to be out there for a good while. You get to see all that. You can see our staff trying to re-energize, get them. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night. There's going to be a lot of tears of emotion by the end, whether they're happy or sad. We're about to see this guy shocked, cannot believe it. There's a diesel car and a tractor on the track. He is a farming background man. He's having the time of his life out there, having a great time. And I tell you one thing: we are not even getting warmed up yet. We have another big battle lining up, and this one is. I mean, whoever thought we'd say this? 10 years of an anniversary of Drift Masters, and now we're saying Hungary versus Canada. That's what we're seeing here in Drift Masters. You'll notice this year not the Drift Masters European Championship, and this is why, just Drift Masters, because there is New Zealanders, Americans, Canadians, from all over the world. We see drivers making the journey, and there is one, Josiah Falaise from Canada. He shipped his Corvette, the only naturally aspirated car on the grid, almost 1,000 horsepower naturally aspirated, V8 with nitrous. And he said he's coming this year just to learn the ropes, just to get up to speed. He said he wants to finish strong. He hasn't had the perfect season. Blew an engine in the first round, had moments of brilliance. Kevin Piscotty, well, he almost had the heroic return to Hungary from the place he watched drifting for the first time to 4 years later being in the top 4. What a journey it's been for Kevin Piscotty. And two of these guys will want a strong finish to the year, especially with all these people watching and all you lovely people watching at home.
Exactly that, Dave. And Kevin Piscotty has been on a flyer all weekend. Judges and rest of the drivers, a lot of the spotters saying Kevin Piscotty is probably one of the best chase drivers out there this weekend because he's flying. He could be a man, but we could see on the podium.
But previous form is great, but when you put everything in the mix in the stadium, anything can happen. A little bit of pressure. It matters when it matters. When you're in practice, you don't win or lose.
But there was no one in the grandstands during practice, and now the place is starting to fill up, and by the time we get to top 16, it'll be a full house, Dave.
Absolutely. Well, we're about to kick it off here as we got Kevin Piscotty versus Josiah Falaise, and this is going to be an interesting one. Josiah's had a wild style all year. It's cost him some runs, it's gained him some wins, so let's see if he can win his first battle, if I'm not mistaken, in Drift Masters this year. He's going up against Kevin Piscotty. Not easy, and it never is easy. This is where you come to basically learn your trade. The best of the best are here. There is no easy battles. There is no luck. You've just got to be on it, machine and person from the start. And here we go. Looks like we're ready to send him. Marcin gives the word. And look at Josiah Falaise. He's ready for this one off the start before Piscotty. This one's going to be fireworks.
It certainly is, Dave. Two guys that are hungry to get a spot in the top 16. Oh, and he nudges the side and gets wedged in there as Josiah Falaise takes a big bite outside of Kevin Piscotty's car and almost puts them both into the wall.
Yeah, you can see Josiah straight away. I think he knows that's his fault. He's gone in too aggressive. He knows how good Piscotty is. You can't give him an inch. And he went in very late and very direct, I guess. He picked up a lot of pace on the handbrake. Now, here's the problem. If that car is not capable to run, which I would imagine Josiah's is in the situation, he's going to be in a situation where he cannot complete the second run. And it looks to me like there's some bumper bar damage definitely on the front. Watch this. He dives in very late. Yeah, actually wheel comes off the ground. I think he goes up into Kevin Piscotty. I'm not mistaken, that front right wheel lifts off the ground.
Lifts off the ground,
He goes in, hits Piscotty, and then, boom. So he's got rear end damage, which I think most of these guys can survive. Piscotty's bumper and lights are gone. He's pretty deep in there as well, to be fair to Piscotty. Could DB the tyre or puncture a tyre there with the bumper bar.
And I think that's the issue now. I think the bumper bar is actually binding on the wheel. That guy's in shock.
Yeah, he's like, oh no. Yeah. We got to
By letting him drive it, we're going to have to lift it because obviously we've had to man make a wet circuit.
Look at this.
And there we go,
So if we move that car, it's going to put more of that everywhere else in the circuit, so we've got to leave it where it is. But there's no way Josiah Flays can continue with that hanging off the car, and he's not allowed to repair the car. And the back wheel's bent. Look, the back suspension's gone on the car too. So that is Josiah Flays at a competition as far as I can see. And that would come down to our judges ascertaining fault towards Josiah Flays, and I assume that's what they're going to do. So this would be the end of Josiah's weekend, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately so, Dave. So you can see our track staff down there now. They're going to get that clean up in operation and try and get this oil spill cleaned up. As you can see there, you can see the bead of oil, and that is not in a great place for the rest of the guys coming through in top 32, because obviously now that is going to make that first outside zone fairly slippery. So I do believe with that call from the judges that if it is down to Josiah Flays, so I do believe that we're going to send Kevin Piscotty back to the paddock to get that car checked over. So we are going to...
So we're going to go down trackside. Becky is down with Josiah Flays. It looks like he's out of competition, Becky. That car is not able to compete anymore. He went for it. He threw everything at it, and it just didn't go right.
Yes, Dave. Josiah, obviously our first question when anything like this happens on track. Are you okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
We saw that obviously after the initiation coming into the first outer zone, did you just mistime it and that was what happened, or can you tell us in your own words?
Yeah, the straight line approach is basically like follow the pace and then dive in and handbrake, and it may have been a missed time. I haven't seen really what happened, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So.
Yeah, I mean, this season's been quite up and down for you, but can you give us kind of a review of what it's been like to be a Drift Masters driver this season?
Yeah, Drift Masters has been great. The people, everything around it, it's amazing. The first season's kind of like cutting your teeth anyways, so it's too bad. I really look forward to battling Kevin, so we'll see what the judges say, but that's my verdict.
Any plans to join us next year?
Yeah, we have plans. We haven't solidified anything yet, but we do have plans.
Okay, Josiah, sorry about that, and we'll see you very soon. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Becky. And Josiah, well, you can obviously tell
he's dejected.
He's not happy. I mean, that's not how you want to end your season with a misstep like that. And as far as I can tell, and I think we're going to have to make it official, this will be Josiah Flays out of competition and Kevin Piscotty going through to the top 16 for two reasons. Number one, Piscotty able to get back to the start line and run. If he wasn't, he would be given a competition timeout. But
he's not sure.
He's saying it's not too sure, but all he would have to do is initiate into the first corner anyway.
It hasn't been an easy weekend even for Kevin Piscotty.
No, it hasn't.
The first practice session of the weekend, the gearbox failed.
Oh.
And they had transmission problems once again. And he said to me in the paddock, he said, we've had the gearbox out twice already, trying to fix it, just trying to make it into the show.
Yeah, so this is unusual. So you know we have these grabbers that pick these cars up and put them, but they don't do that either because they want to reduce the amount of oil that's put on the circuit. Now you've got a wet surface, and now you've got oil, and now you've got championships on the line. I'm just going to put it out there that it's getting a bit sketchy out there. We are in for a very roller coaster-esque end to the season as Josiah Flays, through no fault of his own. It was fault of his own, but no I would say committed fault. He didn't want to do this.
I think this comes back to what we've been talking about all day yesterday, and most of the guys talk about it behind the scenes, that you can't drive at 10%.
No,
you can't drive at 50%. You have to go in.
People wonder
100%.
why these guys make mistakes, and they assume straight away, oh, they must be not very good. The level of knife edge you have to drive to even turn up here.
Yeah.
There's no point in coming here just because you can drift.
No.
Because you can drift well, because you can drift great, nobody cares. It's all about being exceptional. And you know that you make mistakes because you're trying to be the guy that's not going to make those mistakes, or that will do the exact same the other way around and push 110%. And a lot of drivers say to me the last thing they want to do is leave an event where they feel they left something on the table, that they were not brave enough, because you sit with that for weeks and weeks knowing that you didn't even give up a fair fight. So a lot of drivers will say, hey, I don't mind being knocked out, going in the wall, crashing, whatever, as long as I gave it my all, as opposed to being in a situation where we can't see them at their full potential. So,
that.
you know, Josiah Fillets will leave the circuit, and you can see Marston is now looking at the back end of the car saying, I'll get the old toolbox out here.
Hey, I went down and I
tell you what, his toolbox has gotten bigger as the year went on,
went
that's
down
for sure.
on the start line, right, and I spent some time with Martin. He allowed me to go down there and do some filming for the behind the scenes of Drift Masters. And I said to him, buddy, you've got a bigger toolbox than some of the guys in the paddock. And he laughed and he said, yeah, I've got this new pack out. He said, I've got all these new fancy hand tools.
There you go. And there you have it. Look, Dwayne McKeever, Juha Rinton, a big battle already for the top 16. McKeever's not having an easy day at the office for sure. Timo Peltola goes through. I would assume he's going to be joined here by Kevin Piscalti once Kevin Piscalti just initiates into that first corner, and we'll move it along the bracket. We now have oil on the surface, which means that we're going to have inspections on that as well. Can be good that it's on a wet surface and can be bad that it's on a wet surface.
It makes it worse.
I'm trying to be positive.
I know you are. I know. I feel you. I'm
trying to be positive.
Not physically, but I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying. You're trying to be positive, but it is going to make it a little harder for the drivers. They'll all be told now in the paddock there is oil down there. It will take a while for it to go. We do have a sweeper on circuit at the moment. I can take a look out my window. You can see it through the battle tree. It is going to be trying to get rid of all those granules and try and clean it up. And I do believe maybe the water truck will come out to try and wash it away as well, Dave, a little bit.
We do have the technology.
We have the facilities. There we go.
If we are ever in a place to clean up a track, this is that we have more vehicles that are basically more vehicles that can clean
if
things.
If you're into agricultural vehicles, this is the place to be this weekend.
This is a showcase for 2024's fleet of cleaning vehicles and agricultural vehicles this weekend. And look, this also had two people apparently need to operate this machine. I don't even know what this machine is called. A sweeper?
You know when your boss says it's not a two-man job?
Yeah,
that is.
It's a two-man job. I don't know what the other guy's doing. Any guesses? No.
I'm not sure.
One guy's driving, the other guy's doing what?
Maybe one.
Well, he's got something. He's in there. He's got some
doing
levers
something
in there. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's putting up and down the cleaner thing. Certainly, we aren't. We
are not pros on road sweeping equipment.
Well, we don't know much about drifting. Never mind cleaning up after it. So I'll tell you what, we're all guessing here. But yeah, just trying to make sure that there's a lot of granules put down there to try and get as much oil off the surface as possible, which is not going to make it easy. And it's going to put a bit of mud on the surface as well, which again will get fired into the windscreen of the chase car as well. So it's just one of those weekends where anything can happen. And look, we're going to have incidents. We have a fully walled track. This shouldn't be a surprise that people are going to go in the wall.
And look, if you've been watching Drift Masters for the last 10 years or 7 years and you've been in it, watching it all as it unfolds, you'll know that this is a common occurrence at some of these walled arenas that we have in Poland. And
do you know what's interesting? I'm just noticing that Kevin Piscalti not running any windows on this car. I wonder, does a lot of the water get fired up onto his? You can see on his visor on his helmet. Yeah, so he's having a great time.
I mean, he's happy.
He's just like, he might as well just dry myself off here. Got pretty. He's the happiest man in the world right now. He's forgotten where he is. He's like, I just want to be dry.
Believe it or not, it's really warm down there.
It is. It's very humid in the stadium.
Very humid.
And here you go. I'm still not convinced the second guy's doing much in this cleaner. I think he just likes being out involved.
I think you're calling him out a little, Dave.
Maybe he's in training.
If his boss is watching, he's probably going to get called in Monday morning like...
So I see you sitting in the side of a sweeper there going around watching all the drifts all weekend.
One of the best seats in the house. Got free spin around the track.
He's getting more laps of the track than most of our drivers.
We haven't done a lap of the track.
Nope, this guy's done it. Look. Oh, he's got... What is this? He has control of something.
He is. See?
Yeah, he's doing something. Well, at least we'll say he is. So we got to do a couple more laps of the sweeper. I mean, this is really riveting stuff.
Yeah.
But these people are having fun. They got their Lithuanian hats on. Benedictus Cherba's coming out later on. They're looking forward to seeing him on the circuit. They're like, I love this. They look at the screen and go, oh, that's right beside us. That's us. There you go. Having a great time. Look at that. Everyone's on their phones saying, I'm having the best time, LOL.
Yeah. They're all sending the Instagram.
That guy at the bottom's like, I'll tell you what, that second guy in the sweeper's doing nothing. That's what he's saying. He's saying, that's what I do for a living.
There we go. Some Laurie Heinen fans.
Yeah, Laurie Heinen fans are always pumped up.
Well, they're going to be on the edge of their seat in a few battles' time, that's for sure. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. But the thing is, that's the thing. All of Laurie Heinen's fans are going to be like, this is our moment. We've been waiting for, 4 or 5 years?
And wow.
And there's never been a Finnish
this is a role reversal of...
come on, lads. What's going on here? Marston and Kevin Piscalti.
Kevin's like, look, if this doesn't work out for me, I can do the start line.
Yeah, Kevin Piscalti's like, I might do the start line for a bit. Because Marston's eyeing up the job in the sweeper. He says, your man's doing nothing all day. I can get in there to get paid. So as you can see, fans rolling in. We're going to be packed house by top 16. The lights are going to go down. We've got tons of surprises. We've got pyro. We got...
Stop it.
not allowed
We
to say.
said we wouldn't do it.
We're not allowed to say what's
allowed
coming,
to
but
say
a
what's
lot's
going on.
coming.
There's a lot coming.
Yeah, so we want to, you can see Maciek Polity. Interesting, Maciek Polity, the guy on the black hoodie on the track that you see making all the calls, who is our technical director. I would say the grandfather of drifting in Poland. We had a whole
100%.
video on the 10th anniversary here in the stadium last night. He started in a Ford Escort with an open diff.
An open diff, yeah.
Which sounds ridiculous, but that's where drifting started in Poland. He was one of the first drivers to bring the sport here, and here he is at the top level, probably 20 years later, as our technical director. Who
Wanna
knows
know
more?
something funny?
Nobody.
Nobody wants us to know something funny. Is that what you said?
No, I said nobody knows more than Maciek Polity.
No, he doesn't. I met Maciek Polity 13 years ago at a drift event in the UK, and he signed a poster for me.
No way. And now there he is on a
we
scooter.
work alongside each other.
This guy here.
Not technically,
No.
but we work alongside each
You
other.
wonder who's making these calls, and you might say, oh, who's making all these calls to the track? Well, it's the most experienced drifter in Europe, and he's on the track making those calls, ex-professional, and he's been behind the scenes from start to finish for all 10 years of Drift Masters. And as you can see, he's just shouting at the other guy in the sweeper saying, you're doing nothing, why don't you get out here and sweep this? Why are you just sitting in there? So they're getting ready to make sure that this track is as good as possible. And I would imagine Kevin Piscotty is going to be the first man. At least it's not a pressure run for Kevin Piscotty in these conditions. He just has to initiate and get around the first zone, or even before that, and he will get the win and go to the top 16. Not convinced.
It is a
he's doing it.
two-man
Not
job.
convinced
I'm
the
telling
first
you,
guy
it's a
couldn't do
two-man
that as
job.
well. So we got a lot of oil down. There you go.
More popcorn.
This guy is like, give us some popcorn, man, will you?
I still never got any popcorn.
Well, that kid hasn't got any either. He's just watching his mum eat popcorn, furious. He's like, oh, she just got all the popcorn out. I'm not allowed to eat it.
Nothing.
Yep. So here we go. Sweeper doing a good job on the inside clip there, and he's going to head off.
Bad line though.
Yeah.
Judges won't like that. David Callas would not like that. Straight.
The judges actually scored the sweeper down there for that.
Yeah.
For inside
Zero.
zone.
That's
Yeah.
opposite drift.
They don't know how to turn it off. They don't know how to turn it off. And Kevin Piscotty now, all he's got to do is initiate into the first corner, and he will get the win. Josiah Flaves will be out of the competition, and he would be given a competition timeout anyway for not being at fault for the incident. So this is kind of Kevin Piscotty going out there to just see how slippery that first corner is. Piscotty throws in. I would imagine he's definitely got alignment problems on the back end of the car due to the hit with Josiah, but it looks like the car is performing pretty okay, and Piscotty's taking an opportunity to do a lap of the circuit anyway. So this is going to be good news for whoever's following him, because he's going to disperse some of those granules on the track in a non-competitive run. Oh, a little bit of smoke from Kevin Piscotty there as he sits on the front brake. So definitely a lot of wheel speed in that BMW as he goes around the circuit. Piscotty into the last corner. We're going to see the behavior of the car and see if that oil is an issue. Let's see, here we go. There you go, through it. It looks pretty okay. Luckily, a little work.
Yeah, that's work.
Kevin Piscotty says, I'm in the top 16. Biggest event of the year.
We're always bent on that car.
I can just see it there. There's definitely that wheel is not 100%, but he just did a pretty good lap. He did a pretty good lap with a bent wheel, so let's see what happens when he gets it all back to 100% for the top 16. Piscotty takes the win for Hungary and goes through, and the lights are starting to dim here in the stadium. The artificial lights are starting to come on. And we're going to go down to Becky. Becky, you're with Conor Shannon. He's having a look on. It must look pretty treacherous out there.
I am, Dave. Just catching up with Conor right now. He's got Mika Keski-Korpi in his top 32 battle. As we've watched over the season, Conor, you had Mika in Finland, and actually it was Poland this time last year that you had him as well. So what are your thoughts ahead of this battle? Obviously you're in 4th position. You could still take a podium if you manage to get enough points. So what's happening for you right now?
Just trying to stay calm. I enjoy the process, to be honest. It's a very different mindset than I had this time last year, so I'm just enjoying it. It hasn't been the best practice session. We had some small problems, but you know, it's been one of those years. I guess it couldn't have finished without being a stressful one, so I'm trying to stay happy. All my friends are in the stands. My Irish fans came out in force this weekend, and that's what's amazing. I'm here to enjoy the show, put on a show for you guys. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Conor, and good luck in your top 32.
Well, all smiles, Conor Shannon. A lot less pressure than last year,
a lot less
which
pressure.
I think he doesn't enjoy. That he has less pressure.
And Peter Wojcik said exactly the same thing. He said, I'm here for the moment, not the championship. He said, and I think that's going to be more fun than trying to fight for the championship.
I think we'll see better driving too.
Yeah,
It won't be so
100%.
cagey. Anyway, let's see what we get from these two. This is going to be a good one. Kevin Pizor knocking on the door, currently 5th in the championship. Wants a top 5 finish. He was Rookie of the Year last year. Top 5 finish this year would mean he's the fastest rising driver in Drift Masters history. Just putting that out there. Juha Poitalaxo, well, he's the the KG fin. He's been around for a long time. The visor goes down and he's business time. He needs a podium. He hasn't had one in a very long time, and that's what's going to be the business mindset for Poitalakso this weekend. Let's see what happens as they come off the line. Estonia versus Finland here in Poland. Pazur is going to lead him in.
Certainly is. Two good friends behind the scenes, but sworn enemies on the circuit. What can we get? They fire in. Nice line from Kevin Pazur as he puts a back bumper of that F22 BMW right into the pocket, right into the groove. But look at Juha Poitalakso right with him. Every transition, every move. Poitalakso follows him round as the Estonian leads him into this long outside zone. The Finnish driver now jumps up onto the front wheel. A little wobble and waver from both guys as Kevin Pazur now looks for the outside zone. That little touch and go, gets into it, now creates that nice arc across the circuit. And Juha Poitalakso deals with it, now starts to apply more pressure as they get into the second to last outside zone. The final one coming up. Oh, and they're wheel to wheel across the line.
I gotta say, that's the best chase run I've seen on this circuit this weekend.
Unbelievable.
I want you to have a look at the replay of the initiation from Juha Poitalakso. I thought that was going to be in the wall, in the bin. Never, he pulled it off. That was phenomenal. I don't know, Ian, you were having a little look at Pazur at the time.
Yeah.
Watch the chase run here. It's a little early here, but he gets in so early and so wide. He's mimicking the lead driver's line to the wall while also being on the door. Perfection.
Unbelievable. Yeah, incredible. A good job by both guys. The transitions were beautiful as well. Look how close Poitalakso is there onto that rear bumper, and he just took every opportunity on those transitions, Dave. He made the dive, slotted down the inside, got onto that front wheel and was just there the whole way around, and that's beautiful work from both drivers.
I'm very impressed with the chase run. And of course, you need a good lead run.
You need a good
chase
lead,
run.
yeah.
But I think, you know, Juha Poitalakso, I've seen him be a little conservative every now and again. You know, he doesn't always throw the kitchen sink at it. Definitely did there. This is going to mean Kevin Pazur is going to have to turn this up to 11 right now. He's going to have to risk something because his spotter's got to say, Poitalakso was perfection. You've got to be more than perfection.
Oh, and he's left a gap on initiation. This is not good for Kevin Pazur at the moment. He's having to shortcut that outside zone now as we see Poitalakso make his way through these inner zones, and Kevin Pazur now starts to claw back some lost ground. Oh, and a dangerous transition, bumper to bumper for Kevin Pazur as Poitalakso puts the back bumper in the wall in that long outside zone. And once again, Kevin Pazur on the inside, shallows up the angle, now looks for the side of that E92 BMW as they flick back to the second to last outside zone. Poitalakso puts a back bumper and a tailgate up the wall, keeps it clean though, as now gets himself across the line. I thought for a moment there Kevin Pazur was going to overtake Poitalakso at the finish line. I
think where I'm looking at from the outside, and I mean, we're not judges, we don't know what we're talking about, but I'm going to give you my opinion because that's all you got to do.
That's all we got to do.
I think Juha Poitalakso has an amazing chase run. He's got an advantage from that run, and I think Pazur left way too much on the table on the initiation. He left him like Juha was gone. Now Pazur does a great transition here, really good stuff from here, but he's had to do it because he's lost all that proximity, and I think he's realized halfway through this course that Juha's got way more pace. So therefore you'll see Kevin on lower angle, diving very, very erratically because he has to try and keep proximity rather than being comfortable in proximity. Now, Juha tags the wall a little heavy there, and then in the transition here, watch Juha goes very deep here. This is the only mistake Poitalakso makes on the two runs is here. He goes way too deep and has to kind of bounce off the wall with the rear wheel. So one big mistake, I think, over the two runs for Juha, but I think in terms of the chase run, you can see, look, Kevin's way on the inside here, not where he needs to be now. You could say that bump with the wall might have affected that, but I think over the two runs, to me, lead runs were pretty good. It looked to me like you had a much more controlled chase. He was much more in the zone with the lead driver rather than on the inside of the track trying to catch him up. So let's see which way the judges go. I have no idea.
No.
So we're too busy nonsense talking. Let's see what the actual people who make a difference say. And it is Juha Poitalakso going through to the top 16. Juha Poitalakso gets the win and goes through. Kevin, quickly to you. We're just saying, you know, obviously you guys are discussing different criteria, but we're watching it from a layman's perspective. But for me, it looked like Juha just was way more in control through the chase run and close through the whole thing. And Kevin was just making these big darts in and out.
Absolutely, Dave. Realistically, lead runs were very comparable, minor mistakes by both drivers, but it really all came down to the chase runs. And you could absolutely see it. Juha was so controlled, amazing proximity and also matching angle the whole way throughout, making very, very few mistakes. But when you switch it around to Kevin then, fortunately he was having to make those dives that you alluded to, Dave. He was cutting the line and sacrificing the angle as well. So while he did have proximity, it definitely wasn't as clean as Juha's, and overall then Juha gets the win.
Well, there you go, and we are back to re-moistening moist track for a go. So we're going to get on trackside. Becky is with Juha Poitalakso. Becky, he was phenomenal in that top 32 battle. He must be over the moon.
Congratulations, Juha, on your top 32 battle win there. That chase run was incredible. Can you give us an update on the track conditions that allowed you to stay in such brilliant proximity?
Yeah, the driving, I so happy.
I'm so happy. Well, there you go. Congratulations, Juha. You're into the top 16.
Thank you.
There you go, guys.
A man of many words, Juha Poitalasko, but he's got a smile on his face, and the stone-cold Finnish driver doesn't normally smile very often, so he must be happy, Becky. And he said, I drive happy and I am happy, and well, I mean, if he stays happy, he'll find himself happily in the final four if he continues that form, because it was incredible. So we're waiting for the track to leave the circuit while we get two more contenders on, and it will be a big one for Conor Shanahan. He's going up against Mika Keskikorpi, the Finnish driver. Shanahan, look, he's not in the championship fight, currently sits mathematically out of the championship fight in fourth position. But he said, look, if everything goes my way this weekend, I could end up on one of the steps on that championship podium. Now, will it be the third one? Who knows? As things stand at the moment, McKeever's still in the fight for the third step on the championship podium. But Conor Shanahan said, well, I might meet him in the final four, so that could upset a lot of things as well. But before Shanahan gets even close to that final four battle with McKeever, if they both make it that far, he has to go for a very on-form Mika Keskikorpi. Now, Keskikorpi built a brand new chassis for 2024, this BMW F22. He said he invested a lot of time, money and effort to build this chassis throughout 2023. They did a lot of testing in Finland before they came to the first round in Spain, and the car, he said, has worked flawlessly all season. He had a big upset in Hungary where he hit the wall and took the wheel off the car, and you can see the suspension and the coilover and the spring all across the track, and he wasn't a happy man. But he's back on form, repaired the car for this weekend, and he says, I really like this circuit, I really like driving in these walled stadiums. And what can he do this weekend? He once again faces off against Conor Shanahan in the top 32 at the final round. Shanahan pulls to the line, ready to do business. And look at this, Keskikorpi already knows Shanahan's got the pace, so gives him a little bit of room, waits. He can pull away a lot earlier than Shanahan as soon as we get that start line. And here we go, Ireland versus Finland. As our start line marshal Marcin gives him a little fist bump, takes a look around the cars, and these two guys get ready for battle. Keskikorpi happy and smiling. He's pumped to be here in this stadium. He said, take a look around here, and he said there's 50,000 people who are going to be here this afternoon. What an atmosphere, what an occasion.
Yeah, well, also for Keskikorpi's going against last year's winner.
Yes.
So, I mean, Conor Shanahan can only do worse.
Of course.
Or equal his result from last year here. So, Keskikorpi, I think for me, has it all to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, he's been doing it in practice. Can he do it right now? And they come off the line through the gears. Shanahan flicks that car to angle already as he manages his way across the circuit, sets himself up nicely. And look at this, Keskikorpi slots into formation, shallows up the angle to avoid contact with Shanahan. Now they work their way down through these two inner zones. And Conor Shanahan finds a groove, a little late transition there from Keskikorpi. Has to do work in this outside zone now, tags the side of Shanahan's GT86, and he's in the pocket and on the door. And look at this from Keskikorpi, that car turned up to 11, gripped up to the 9s. As Shanahan now gets that perfect arc into this second to last outside zone. There's no shaking. Mika Keskikorpi, they both come through the outside zone. A little wobble once again from Keskikorpi, and now starts to lose some ground as he's on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it in the chase run from Keskikorpi, he's got great proximity, but one of the things you've got to do is mirror the lead car, mirror their movements, and it's just on two transitions. It looked to me like Keskikorpi mistimed it. He wasn't in sync with Shannon. Everywhere it was sort of stable in the corners, he was really good.
Yeah.
Just watch this on the replay. He kind of just transitions quite late. He doesn't transition with the lead car.
No.
And the judges will be watching that, and you know, that's I would say an error, but other than that, he was really good in the chase run here, right? Gets on the inside, and just watch the transition for Shannon, watch Keskikorpi. He gets a little close there, and he has to kind of delay his transition, so he loses a little bit of ground, has to cut the corner to get back with Shanahan again. Other than that, Keskikorpi's right up on the door, and what I love about Keskikorpi's style is once he's there, he's very consistent, very smooth, and he knows exactly what he's doing. But watch this second transition, same thing again. He gets in, he sort of transitions, he takes a little bit of time and then goes on bigger angles, so it just doesn't seem as fluid as the lead car to get up on the door instantaneously. And I mean, I'm really splitting hairs here, but again, on the inside here from Keskikorpi, to me, now that could be a little remnants of the oil there, could be anything that's causing that, but it's going to be judged the same. So I think in this position, Shanahan now, his spotters will be on the radio saying, just get close on the transitions, that's where you can make the difference. Keskikorpi's got to put in a stonker of a lead run here.
Certainly has, Dave. Here we go, he flicks that car into initiation, now finds that nice outside line, And it opens the door for Shanahan. A little bobble on the wall there for Mika Keski-Korpi. As a look for the transition now, as Keski-Korpi puts the front bumper very close to the wall, but the transition from Shanahan was absolutely beautiful now. As he shallows up the angle and looks for that front wheel, that BMW, they come through the outside zone. Shanahan not being shaken right now as they go through the centre of the circuit. A little left foot brake there from Shanahan to balance that car on throttle as he comes through now into the second to last outside zone. Both guys wobbling a little bit as they get into the last outside zone. A tag on the wall once again for Keski-Korpi.
You know, it's funny. It's very strange how I talked about that mirroring the lead car, and Shanahan's so much braver in the transitions, and you know he was diving with the lead car to get right back on the door again and not cut the circuit. Keski-Korpi, to be fair, does a really good lead run. It's really, really smooth. I love the entry from Mika there. It was really aggressive, fired it to the first corner, and as he went through there, but I mean, to me, that managed aggression from Shanahan throughout the run, just being on the door, just trying to stay there where he needs to be. But I'll be honest with you, from my perspective, it looks to me like, look at this, he's transitioning mirror image with the lead car, and that just helps you there because you don't have to dive across the track there. That said, Keski-Korpi's lead run is phenomenal. So the judges will be looking at that lead run very carefully, and I'm not sure if there's a possibility that even Mika's lead run was better than Shanahan's in some areas. So it's going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, Dave.
But this one for me, look, he transitions just in the pocket, gets in there early, and we saw Mika on the inside of the circuit towards that section of the track. So it looked to me like Shanahan looked more in control, but then you got to look at that lead run from Keski-Korpi. A little bump on the wall there just at the end.
Yeah, it was the one little bit for me.
Yeah.
It was the one little mistake in the lead that kind of popped up. We
are going to be split, and you can see the Shanahan fans, you know, not bothered at all, not even that emotional about it.
No, it's just an easy day for them.
So let's see which way it goes. Will it be 2023 champion Conor Shanahan, or will it be Mika Keski-Korpi take down the big name? Not on this occasion. Conor Shanahan gets the win and goes through to the top 16. I think Mika will be disappointed with that one. He didn't make any major mistakes, but as far as I think it would, from my perspective, it will be, just proximity in the chase. I mean, we've got two really good lead runs from two phenomenal drivers, and I think that was, for me, that transitioning. If you can get it mirrored with the lead car, dive in almost instantaneously, you're getting so much more proximity than a driver who's taking time, more proximity for more of the run. I'm not trying to explain it too detailed, but you get my point.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, we're starting to agree. 6 rounds in. 6 rounds in.
And then we get a few months apart.
Everybody's having a good time in the grandstands. They're starting to fill up. We're starting to pack out this stadium. And remember, when we get to top 16, we are sold out, every seat taken. And I'll tell you what I love about it is that we're going to go into under the lights. So it's going to be a totally different vibe in here when the lights come on. So next up, we've got 2 Polish drivers.
Yeah.
One, I would say, definitely the underdog, and one, the ex-champ, who hasn't won a Polish stadium event in a little while. Peter Wiańczek, he's been working his way up on this. Toyota Super goes up against Łukasz Tazemski. You know what? Wildcard entry this weekend looked phenomenal in qualifying, and he's going to have a look at Peter Wiańczek. He's going to know all about Peter Wiańczek. These two have competed at national level as well. And Peter Wiańczek, I mean, we talk about it. It's either the best run you've ever seen in your life, or it's a hit with the wall. That's the way it's been with this Supra. He's testing the limits this year. He said he's using this year as a warm-up for next year. And right here in front of 50,000 people, Wiańczek's going to want to win this one, and here we go.
It certainly is, Dave. He's going to want to be in the big show this evening in front of his home crowd. And here we go. His nice initiation, fires it into Zemski. Gets onto the wall as well, but there's a little bit of separation. And now it's to shallow up the angle. He doesn't want to let Peter get away too far. As Wiańczek fires that car in across. Nice transition on the handbrake. Gets it in. Oh, and a little contact from Tazemski, but Wiańczek deals with him, and it upsets the line a little bit in the outside zone. A little push onto the rear wheel. Now they fire through the middle. Tazemski goes for that transition back, try not to make contact once again. And Peter, as he gets into the second to last outside zone, now starts to follow him around, now starts to mirror the angle, mirror the line as they go across the line.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say that Tazemski just not getting close enough, and then all of a sudden he got too close. He took a big dive and took a chunk out of the side of Peter Wiańczek's Supra. And the fans are starting to get pumped up on. I mean, we are seeing contact after contact after contact, and we don't want to see it, but secretly we kind of want to see it. Quite exciting. Yeah. Judges don't want to see it, but as fans, we want to see it. People pushing to the absolute limits. You can see definitely was losing a little bit of ground here to James. He had to kind of, shallow up the angle to get there, and then right here he's coming in like a dart into this section, and he fires into the door. Now, to be fair to Peter, he deals with it well, and so does Tazemski. It's back on it pretty quick. So look at this inside Peter's car. Look at this. Boom, you can feel it in the car. And Peter not
unfazed.
Yeah, like a robot there going. please leave me alone. I'm doing the lead run. I don't need your messing here.
He's like, have you seen how clean this Supra
Yeah.
is? It's brand new for this weekend.
That guy just
cleaned
hit me.
it, cleaned
Just
it
hit
right
me.
up.
Well, he has a chance to return the favour now.
He does, yeah.
As Tziemski will be in the lead position, then S14. Wiańczek will be in the chase position. Wiańczek half the job done, but half is not good enough to get the result. He's got to go close, and he's got to be careful here as he fires in on his Polish compatriot. Here we go into that first corner. Look at that. Peter Wiańczek up onto the door. Tziemski on a good line, not a lot of angle. Oh, Wiańczek almost squeezes himself into trouble and somehow gets away with it and gets back up onto the door of Tziemski as he's right there with him. Tziemski wobbling in the outer zone a little bit there as Wiańczek gets up onto the door, firing flames from the rear of that S14 as they transition through the track. Now Wiańczek's got to make the dive, and he does, and he gets up onto the door. And this is where he's going to force the issue, but Tziemski with a wild wobble into that zone as well. And Peter Wiańczek dealing with it, and look at that, running the wall from Tziemski at the end. That was a wild one.
It certainly was, Dave. A lot of mistakes though in that lead line.
Yeah, I was just saying I didn't want to be too heavy on them, but there was some wibbly-wobbly wonders going on there on the outside.
And to be honest with you, Peter Wiańczek did an incredible job of trying to deal with that because the lead wasn't clean at all. And I think that Peter almost making the contact with that inside zone was mainly down to the line from Tziemski.
Well, a lot of cheers from the fans. We got a lot of Polish in the house, obviously, and they are really wanting, finally, a Polish driver on the top of the podium here at the biggest event in the world. And look at all the smiles around. Oh, he's going to steal Peter Wiańczek, take him home. And he said, you can't win if I've locked you away. So let's see what, you know what, a brave run from Tziemski in the lead position, but it was brave, but there was some errors.
There was a lot of errors there. Nice line through that first in outside zone. Then he started to pick up the speed there, and you can see, look, very shallow, and he handbrakes, Dave, as he goes through that inner zone. And what that does, it upsets Peter Wiańczek. He has to think about it, and he almost squeezes himself because he's on shallow angle on the handbrake, and then he has to reset himself up for this long outside zone. Once Wiańczek gets in the crease, in the pocket, he's there, and there's no shaking him. But it was a wobbly ride for Lucas Tziemski, and Peter Wiańczek dealt with it well. Can only see this going one way, really. But you know what, for a wildcard driver, a man that has been driving in the Virtual Drift Masters Championship this year, they're trying to make that crossover from virtual to real world, Dave. He's done an incredible job.
Yeah, I think this one will be pretty obvious, and it is. Going through to the top 16, Peter Wiańczek, he was more relieved than excited getting into the top 16. If he wants to get to the top step of the podium tonight here at his favourite event in the world and his home event, well, he's going to have to work pretty hard, and he did pretty good job there. Got through it, no questions, and the Polish are very, very happy. And Peter Wiańczek will head back to the pits and prepare for the biggest top 16 parade of the year. All the drivers saying they just want to be in that parade, looking up at 50,000 with the fireworks going. I mean, I'm not supposed to say what's going to happen, but there's fireworks.
You just keep giving it away.
I know, but I'm trying to give people little tidbits so they get excited for later on. Come on, Ian, that's how it works, a little bit of hype. So here we go, Peter Wiańczek. You can see he's all cool, and then he gets in the car, he forgets the cameras there, and he goes, hey, we won. The emotions roll out. Very happy with everything, and he's into the top 16. Team will be happy with that. It's been a tough season for Peter Wiańczek, just adapting that car, but every round I think he looks better and better and better. So awesome to see as we move along to our next top 32 battle. We're on the second half of the bracket, and it's going to be another Shanahan, Jack Shanahan, qualifying down the order yesterday, and he will be going up against Jakob Kroll, who had a mixed bag in qualifying. He had a good run and a crash. So what did we learn? Nothing. We learned nothing from either of them. They both had moments of brilliance and moments of despair. So let's see what happens when they go head to head. Poland will obviously be right on the back of Jakob Kroll here. New build this year. I think he's really elevated his game this year in terms of it. Normally, Jack Shanahan would go in as the big favourite here, but Jack has had some waivers this year, has had some issues. Things haven't gone his way, and a little bit with Jack, he's an emotional driver. The mindset gets negative, the driving gets negative. He's got to try and switch that off now as he chases in Kroll into that first corner. Kroll's got to keep this on a knife edge, but be right on those outer zones as they go into that first corner. Kroll goes to the wall, and Shanahan leaves him a lot of ground here. Shanahan does make the dive, hand racing up onto the door. Kroll with a lot more pace than Shanahan was expecting, and Kroll firing through the course. Not a lot of angle, but he's getting the job done and getting into those zones. Now Shanahan starts to force the issue, but goes way too on the inside. Gets it on the inside and has to work that car back on the handbrake and the left right brake to get back to the door of Jakob Kroll, and it's not working out exactly how Jack Shanahan would like here as he goes through the course, and Jakob Kroll goes to the wall, Shanahan goes to the wall, and they're together as they go into this last corner. Shanahan making the last exclamation point as Kroll caresses the boot lid off the wall. Interesting run.
Very interesting. That was not what I expected to happen there, Dave.
We thought we'd see a Jack Shannon up on the door, but it looked to me like he struggled to get there.
Look, we'll take nothing away here from Jakob Kroll because the lead line was absolutely beautiful, Dave. Look at this. He gets into this first outside zone nice and early. He's on the wall. He's running the wall. But look at Shanahan. He's wobbling and wavering. He's on the handbrake a lot. He's left foot braking a lot as well. He does make a few brave dives onto the door of Jakob Kroll. But for me, it's not clean from Shanahan. And for me, this long outside zone 4 was the worst one of all. Look at this. The car kind of grips up, shot forward. He has to handbrake, and then he's way out of formation. He's not in the zone, and Jakob Kroll's just out front doing his thing. Shanahan's just not in that fight.
No, the problem you have is that when you're in that chase position and you're on that inner line, you know you're going to be going faster because you're covering less ground.
Yeah.
So really the clever thing to do is go back out on the actual qualifying line and stay on the door because you're using the same pace, especially with the limited grip on the surface. When you get down into the order, you're now on an inner arc and you've got to stop, start. And I think Jack Shannon found himself in that position. That said, that's only half the battle. Jakob Kroll now has to force the issue, and Shannon's going to come out of here like a bat out of hell. He knows he's made mistakes in the chase. He's going to try and outrun Kroll here, but Kroll right there on the door as they come through that first corner. Jakob Kroll right on the rear quarter of Jack Shannon, transitions back. Shannon, Kroll's made a big error into the wall. He had all the advantage and he's thrown all that advantage away. And Jakob Kroll now, is that car affected from the incident, or will Jack Shannon be given a gift here as Jakob Kroll comes through that outer zone? He's still in the fight with the car smushed in at the front, and Jakob Kroll now going into, he's making mistakes everywhere, and I'll tell you what, it's just swung right back the other way here as Jakob Kroll hits the wall in the chase position.
I don't think I can do this today, Dave.
That is 2 runs of what we didn't expect.
Not at all. And I tell you what, if you're
in that lead position, looked like he had that one in the bag.
And I think if you're a Jack Shanahan fan, you probably just thought, it's all over. It's all over. But that contact, we see it yesterday in qualifying. If it's too heavy on that front clipping point, you get deducted a lot of points. And I think that's going to swing massively in Jack Shanahan's favour. Look at this. Shanahan's on a ripper as well,
Shanahan makes mistakes in the chase, but this looks to me, it's a crash by any means. He bounces off the wall.
It's a big hit.
It's a big hit. He slows down. Yeah, it's a big hit. So I'll be honest with you, I think there's big mistakes from Shanahan. There's one big mistake from Jakob Kroll. So let's have a look at this from the reverse angle. And the flame out the back. That's pretty cool.
The wheel off the track as well at that point.
Just for a moment, I was like, there's a car drifting into a wall with flames coming out 6 foot out of the exhaust. I'm like, what a sport. What a time to be alive. And then after that, Jakob Kroll does well to get back into this. He gets back into it. So I would say from that perspective, you've got to look at it from where I'm sitting, you've got a multitude of mistakes from Shanahan, and you've one big mistake from Jakob Kroll. And is that big mistake from Jakob Kroll just too much to ignore?
Well, I'm not a judge, and I don't have to make that decision.
We're not a judge, but
because I am completely split down the middle. Who knows?
It's very hard. I think both drivers won't know this one either. We don't know. I think it's going to be, a bag of mistakes versus one big one. Which way will the judges go, and who's going to go through to the top 16? Jack Shannon's probably not going to know a whole lot about what went on behind him, but let's see which way the judges go. Jack Shanahan gets the win. Jack Shanahan gets the win and goes through. And I'll tell you what, it was a lucky one. I'm going to go quickly back to Kevin O'Connell. Kevin, where we were sitting, it looked like loads of mistakes from Jack Shanahan, but nothing overly zero-y. But then Jakob Kroll has a massive hit with the wall, just when it looked like he had it in the bag.
Absolutely, Dave, and luck was definitely on Jack Shanahan's side there, because from the first run he was at a huge disadvantage. As you guys called out, definitely lots of small mistakes, and one major one when he was chasing coming into outer zone 4, where he went really shallow, went way onto the inside. That to Jakob's mistake where he had a huge hit with inner zone 3. For me, that was enough to seal Jakob's fate. For David, it was a little bit closer and he wanted to see him go one more time, but overall me and Matty both decided that mistake was enough to give Jack Shanahan the win.
Yeah, so there you go. We have
Did you hear Jack Shanahan when he walked up to the camera to get in the car?
No.
Very lucky.
He thought he was very lucky. Well, we have got an Irish judge, a Polish judge, and a Czech Republic judge here this weekend.
Yeah.
So time, the Polish judge saying Jack Shannon and the Irish judge saying Jack Shannon. So there you are. So let's go down to Becky Evans. Becky, I think Jack Shannon may have the look of the Irish this weekend because he was lucky to get out of that one and get into top 16.
Yes, Dave, I don't know about Jack, but I was sweating there a little bit watching that. Congratulations on getting into top 16, but as you were coming, I think it was out of zone 3 or 4, you came all the way on the inside of him. Can you tell us what happened there?
To be honest, after our spotter studying his lead runs in practice, he actually was quite fast, and we just took the car up a little bit more because I thought we needed a bit of grip. and it turns out we put too much in, and I just couldn't get into formation basically, and then it just kept messing me up. And to be honest, I'm super lucky he hit the wall, because like I hadn't completely messed up my chase run, and I had to just do like the most aggressive lead run I could do. But yeah, I'm happy nonetheless. So we're in.
Jack, can you give us a quick track conditions update for us?
Yeah, like obviously we were at the end of the 4 runs per water tank basically, so I think that might have caught me out also, because qualifying last night was super wet and our practice this morning was also super wet, so we might have had a little bit more grip than what I was expecting. So yeah, we just try judge it a bit better for the next battle.
Perfect, thank you, Jack, and we'll see you in the top 16.
Well, you have lucky Jack Shannon. Well, you know what? Sometimes you take luck over anything else, and he goes through to.
And he knew he'd messed up.
Yeah, and he was like, a lot of these drivers know from inside the car. I mean, they've driven long enough to know if it's gone right or it's gone wrong. And I can't believe it. I thought Jakob Kroll would be furious. He had such an advantage there.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And I think on that particular occasion, you're not going to get too many times when you get a top 10 driver in the championship make a mistake or an error like that. And you've got to capitalise. Yeah. And unfortunately for Jakob Kroll, he did not. And here's two interesting drivers coming to line. Torani Kvyat coming straight off a podium in Hungary, going up against rookie David Spasov from Poland. I'll tell you what, watching practice earlier on, both of these were going really well. Very aggressive, especially Spasov. Very little to lose, down the order in the championship, you know, doesn't have massive expectation this year, just trying to learn it out. He can take a risk here. Kvyat wants a strong finish to the season. He wants another podium. He said Tor is back. He got his big qualifying run last night. He doesn't want to go out top 32. So this is going to be interesting to see which way both of them manage their aggression as they come off the start line. Will be Norway versus Poland, Kvyat versus Spasov. Kvyat to lead them out as the higher qualifier. Here we go.
Yeah, second place in qualifying last night for Torani Kvyat. What can he do? We know he's got that perfect lead line on. A wild initiation for both those guys. Spasov goes for the big swing in, but it doesn't pay out, and now he's on the outside of outside zone 1, and he's having to fight now and trying to get himself back into the zone. Kvyat on an absolute ripper. Look at the grip he stole into the car. It almost has come to a stop there on that inside 3, and now they find themselves in this long outside zone. Spasov fighting, whip the car up massively. You can see it's almost too hard to drive. It's not comfortable for Spasov. They come through the centre of the circuit now as Kvyat makes that big swing, a little dab of the handbrake, gets himself set up for the outside zone, but it's not nice from Kvyat. It's not clean as he now looks for the final outside zone. Spasov creeps up on the inside, and backs out of it. Thought he was going to make contact.
I'll tell you what's happened there.
Tell me.
From a little bit of experience.
You have a little bit?
Just a little bit. Spasov's gripped the car up so much that when he comes on the left foot brake, he darts forward, then he comes off the power, the car grips, because he can't jump from the handbrake to the left foot brake.
He's done what Jack just did.
Exactly, you can't do both. So he's gripped the car up. Every time he goes in there, he's on the left foot brake, but once he comes off throttle, if you say he's trying to slow himself down a little bit, the car just jumps forward, and you can't really very easily go from the left foot braking to the handbrake instantaneously, so you pick one or the other. So you can see him sort of darting and diving in the chase position.
Look how controlled Kvyat is.
Yeah, but it's at the end for me that it makes the difference. Watch it when he transitions through here. Spasov transitions. This is really good for Spasov. He gets in the mix. Now he's thinking handbrake right. Now I'm on left foot brake, but he thinks he's going to hit Kvyat, so he slams on the brake. And as he slams on the brake, the back end of the car grips here, and you got to go back on the handbrake. It's a hesitation. Because remember, you can left foot brake the whole track, but you need the handbrake also. So it's a very difficult task. If you think about what these drivers are trying to do here, come off, the clutch and handbrake has to be on together, and then the accelerator and brake have to be on together. There's a lot going on there. Let's see what happens when we switch it around. Spasov now with the lead. Interesting initiation from Spasov there.
Yeah, look at this straight line approach from Kvyat as he dives up onto the door. Spasov gets himself into the outside zone. It's very tidy from Spasov at the moment. And a little tussle in there from Torani Kvyat, putting some tyre marks on the wall. Both guys, make contact with the wall, and Kvyat had to back out of that. That was a mistake from Kvyat in the chase. He almost put the wheel into the wall. Now gets himself back into formation, looks for the front wheel. Spasov's S15. They come through the centre of the circuit. Big angle from Spasov. He's going very wide. He's going to get to this outside zone very early. Can he make it work? He can, but he has to back out ever so slightly, and that opens the door for Kvyat, as Kvyat now takes a little punch up onto the front of Spasov's S15.
Oh, I don't know. That was Kvyat's chase run was phenomenal. But Spasov's making a lot of wobbles.
Yeah.
And then Kvyat's dealing with it. But then at the same time, if you go too close and you get stuck by one, which Kvyat did, he almost went in the wall.
But is that going to come down to the line? Let's take a look at Spasov's line through there.
Good here, really good on the outside zone, and then he kind of drops out a little bit to the inside. But this is okay. For me, Kvyat takes this very, very risky here. He goes on the inside, Spossum goes so close that Kvyat has to back out. Kvyat has to kind of, I don't know how he gets away with that.
That is, I mean, look at this. Yes, Spossum's very close, and Kvyat's even closer. He's in the wall.
And then they do get away with it, and Kvyat gets back in it again. So to be fair, that's really good driving from Kvyat, because anyone else would have just gone straight into that wall. Does a good job here. Spossum's right out to the wall. Kvyat's up on the door. You can see Kvyat just kind of lurching forward and back, trying to make sure that he stays there. Really good driving. I mean, we're watching exceptional stuff, and it's only the top 32.
Yeah, the knife edge. And
now, this is really wide from Spossum. I'm not sure how the judges are going to see this. He goes super wide.
Well, he catches Kvyat out as well there, because he actually transitions.
Look at Kvyat's car actually hopping the front wheel off the ground. He's got that much grip in the back end of the car. And here, Spossum, I think, stalls a bit. Kvyat hits him, but I think it's kind of all fair game at that stage. They're like two lads falling out of a pub there across the finish line, just getting there in the end. Let's see what happens. Judges are going to make the call on this one. And who's going to go through to the top 16? Tor Arne Kvyat gets the win and goes through to the top 16. The Norwegian keeping up that amazing form that he's returned to this year towards the end of the season. You can see how much it means to him. He got the podium in Hungary, and now he is into the top 16. Quickly back to you, Kevin. Just a quick question, actually, more than anything else, about this left foot braking and kind of stalling up a little bit. What did you think in regards to Sposs up there, kind of in the chase? Very darty. I mean, are you looking for fluidity? Are you looking for that aggression? What decided that battle for you?
100%, Dave. Yeah, we are definitely looking for fluidity and making sure that the chase driver is nice and consistent. We said that in the briefing, that we were going to be really penalising any major mistakes there. So Spossum unfortunately sealed his own fate there with those errors in the chase position.
Thanks, Kev. We're moving along. Another battle. Here we go. It's going to be Sweden versus the USA. And no, it's not World Cup 94. It is Drift Masters here in a stadium in Poland. It's going to be Adam LZ to take on Joachim Andersen. Two drivers never seen competition against each other this year to date.
Nope.
LZ looking to be the first US driver to go into the top 16 in a big stadium event in Europe. He missed out on qualifying last year when he came as a wild card. He now had a really good qualifying result yesterday, and can he cement that with a win in the E36, which, as you can see, has been pretty much on fire. Not such a problem here inside the stadium. Adam LZ said we didn't even have to fix the problem. There's that much water on the car, we're not setting it on fire anymore. Joachim Andersen, new car this year, has struggled a little bit for form at times, but he will love the challenge here of taking down LZ in front of the Polish fans. Here we go, LZ in the lead, big entry from LZ. Joachim Andersen firing into the chase.
Yeah, big flick to initiation from Adam LZ, but it works and it pays off, and look at that, right into that outside zone, right up onto the wall. But look at this from Andersen. Andersen can trust Adam LZ's line and takes a brave swing through. Now Andersen on the inside, he's going to have to dive up to get that proximity back, and he does as Adam LZ makes his way through that long outside zone. Joachim Andersen right in there though, on the pocket as they come through the centre of the circuit, looks to set himself up for that second to last outside zone. Joachim Andersen took a weird line there, had to wait for Adam LZ to set himself up. Now LZ into the final outside zone. Andersen flicks it to angle across the line.
Yes, I mean, business as usual for both drivers there. I mean, it was a good lead run. There was a couple of moments where LZ, it looks to me like the car is very hooked up. Every time you can see the back end just shift a little bit in the zones when he goes from a lot of throttle to left foot braking. But no major errors from either driver. Yeah, Andersen quite on the inside of that first corner, dives in a little bit late on the inside just to get there, but he does get there, and he does get that proximity, just about avoids that inside cone as they come through. No such issues from both drivers. I wouldn't say at any point in this run there was anything spectacular in the lead of the chase, but it was smooth, it was consistent, it got all the zones. Andersen doing a couple of good moments throughout there. You can see all the fans like, they're going by me. Look at this, the nod of approval from that guy. That's all you need. And on this, as you said, Andersen waited late on the transition, meaning he had to put big angle in on the transition, but he got away with it. I think it's going to come down to the second run. Can LZ dial up a little bit more proximity? We didn't see major proximity from Joachim Andersen, but then again, Andersen could impress here with a really good lead, because that LZ's lead is probably sitting in the mid-80s. It could be beaten, so let's see what happens.
There we go, 30 gears down they come. Look at this. LZ goes for that straight line approach. Big flick to angle, long handbrake drag over for Andersen, but now he's into the outside zone, disposes of the rear bumper. That opens the door for Adam LZ as he comes through. He's going to take that bumper off, and he does. Spits it across the circuit as they look for outside zone 4. Andersen's on some pace right now. He's moving through the circuit very fast. Little tag on the wall, it upsets the line ever so slightly from Joachim Andersen, and Adam LZ deals with it, waits for that transition. A scrappy move through the middle of the circuit for the American, as now the Swedish driver Joachim Andersen looks for that final outside zone, and LZ jumps up onto the front wheel.
A little bit of proximity just towards the end, and again, drivers do that, one, because it's the safest part to do it, because we're all finishing the run, but also they do it because it's an exclamation point for the judges that, you were there.
Yeah.
There was some moments of brilliance, and there was some errors there on both sides. We'll have a look at it in the replay, but from where I'm sitting, LZ getting some good proximity at times, Anderson doing some good stuff at times, but errors creeping in. This is, first of all, big hit with the wall from Anderson, but he gets away with it, just flexes it. Not as bad as it looks as it initially looked when I looked back on the drone. It was pretty solid there. LZ doing a good job as they come through here in the chase position. Not major angle from LZ in the chase, just kind of smoothly going through. It's kind of a mirror image of the first run, really, up until this point. One thing I did like was LZ getting right out into the outer zone, so he was staying with the lead car, not on the door, but he wasn't on the inside of the track. Anderson touches the wall again there on the outer zone, and this is where there's a little bit of separation, as Anderson goes pretty wide here. Big angle from Anderson there. He gets the handbrake a second time. 3 times he handbrakes down to the wall. So the judges will be watching for that as LZ creeps up onto the door right at the end. And look at this, how close this is when you're in the car. It must be pretty hectic. I mean, he could put his hand out there and take the filler cap off Anderson's car if he wanted to. It's wild to watch, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy, especially with some of these guys.
We get so numb to it. We're just watching it go, oh, here we are, Adam LZ against Joachim Anderson. Yeah, door on door around the stadium and a track that didn't exist 3 days ago. US versus Sweden, packed house. And they're just door to door. Every battle's door to door, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, most of these cars now, Dave, in absolute tatters after a really hectic year of wall running.
Two boys nearly got run over by the tractor there. That would have been it. So nobody wins that battle. Let's see who goes through to the top 16. Adam LZ gets the win and goes through to the top 16. He'll be happy with that. When Joachim Anderson bows out, you can see Joachim's just not happy. Maybe just the run didn't go as he wanted. Adam LZ does get the win and go through to the top 16. He makes the parade. That's what he said he wanted to do this weekend. Get to the parade. He missed out on it the last time around. I think Adam LZ is pretty happy with his progression into the top 16. You know what? I've got to go back to Kevin very quickly. Kevin, nothing crazy in that battle. It looked tough to me. It was good moments for both drivers.
Yeah, really close battle overall, Dave, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but it all comes down to mistakes. And if you compare both leads, relatively similar. Maybe Joachim's a slightly bit worse out by a couple of mistakes, but it's all about mistakes in that chase position. You can see Joachim was cutting the line to maintain proximity, shallowing up on his angle, having a few angle corrections and a few bobbles, whereas Adam LZ had consistent angle the whole way throughout and consistent proximity, and he was also managing to maintain that qualifying line that we're looking for too. So while it was a relatively close battle, Adam, the cleaner driver over the 2 runs and taking the win.
There you have it from Kevin O'Connell. Tells you straight. That's how he does it.
Straight,
yeah. You won't just tell you how it is. So we're going to go down to Becky Evans, who's with Adam LZ, who's heading to the biggest top 16 of the year.
Yes, Dave. Adam, that was an interesting battle. It came down to a few mistakes on either side. What is it like out there for a driver right now?
I mean, I got to say, it's an honor just to be here with the most insane crowd in drifting. To make it in the competition was awesome. So to get to win my first battle, I'm in shock.
Well, congratulations. You're into the top 16. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
There you have it, Adam LZ. You know, a man who spends time, his living is talking, and he's no words. There you go. That's how big the occasion is. And we're moving on to the biggest battle, I think, of the top 32. And I don't just think it because it is the biggest battle of the top 32. It's Laurie Heinen. Now, this is massive for Laurie Heinen. If he wins this battle, the percentages go right down for Dwayne McKeever and James Dean, especially James Dean. This is where basically I'm going to put it out there. If Laurie Heinen wins this battle, Dwayne McKeever cannot win the championship. That's how we stand. There's still an outside chance for Dean. But Dwayne McKeever, if Laurie Heinen beats Adam Zalewski, he's out. He can only finish a best of 3rd. That's what's on the line right now.
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm not even telling you. I'm saying it.
You're saying it?
Laurie Heinen wins this battle, he is 1 step closer to being the 2024
So what you're saying
champion.
is, if Laurie Heinen wins this battle,
yes,
at worst he can finish 2nd in the championship.
And also he still can win it.
And he can still win it, of course.
Obviously depending on Dean.
But now it goes
the big
back
thing
to
now
Dean.
is that Adam Zalewski he's a killer. He's an amazing driver. This
he's
is
a
not
former
the
champion
when this
himself.
happened yesterday, this is not what Laurie Heinen wanted. He didn't want a Zalewski in a home event. The Polish fans on his side. You heard Heinen say the car is not 100%. He's fighting through issues. It's getting tired towards the end of the season. If Heinen wants to be champion, this is where you've got to be a champion. You've got to step up and take down another ex-champion in Adam Zalewski. Zalewski, he's not in the running for the championship, but he wants to win the biggest drift event of the year, and he wants to put Heinen out here. This is a big, big battle for the championship. Poland and Finland will be watching this one very carefully. We'll all be standing back and watching this one carefully. It's time for Heinen to prove his worth. Can he clinch that championship? Can he put McKeever out of the race? Well, he's got to win this one.
Well, there we go. It's big flick across the circuit, and it kind of upsets Adam Zalewski a little bit. Now he's going left standing, and Zalewski not into it, but a tag onto the wall, and a tag onto the wall once again for Laurie Heinen. But now Zalewski shallows up the angle and finds himself into formation. He fires through the circuit. They get those inside zones, and now Zalewski onto the door of Laurie Heinen, but he upsets his own line and has to back out of it ever so slightly. Zalewski is not going to let Heinen win this one easily. They come through the centre of the circuit. A big transition for Heinen on the handbrake into the outside zone nice and early. It's scrappy from Zalewski. He's wandering and wavering, but he has the proximity as they get to that final outside zone and across the line.
Whoa. You know what, we've been watching this championship from the start of Spain through 6 different countries to this moment, and the Finnish fans, and the smoke from the back of Zalewski's car, and that's not a good sign.
Oh, there's a lot of smoke.
There's a lot of smoke out of Zalewski's car. This looks to me like that car has got a turbo issue or an engine issue. He's going to run it either way, but it's definitely a lot of smoke coming out of Zalewski's car there. Zalewski leaves him on the entry. He just doesn't get there close enough, and then he does come in aggressively through the rest of the run. He's got loads of proximity. But he bumps doors. He's right in the mix. But he's given an inch to Heinen. He's given him an inch.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you're right, Dave. I think he's given Heinen something.
Yeah.
It wasn't the cleanest we've seen from Heinen. He's tagging the wall. He's making a few mistakes here and there. He's a little deep in the zones, which is not what the judges wanted. But I think Zalewski was giving Heinen a little bit.
He was. He left something on the table. I think Heinen doesn't care how he wins it. He just wants to win it. He doesn't care how that happened.
No.
At this stage now, after the season he's had, he's just got to keep it together. One error, one spin, one hit in the wall, one over push here, and this could be a lot more stressful for the Finnish fans than Laurie Heinen. He's got to keep his cool. He's got to stay on the door, and he's got to get the job done. In behind Zalewski goes, and he's right there on the initiation.
Yeah, he's not going to let Zalewski get away. Zalewski gets into the outside zone. It's shallow on the angle. Now starts to work it in, and Heinen has to deal with it. Heinen works his way through. And Zalewski goes for a wild transition and puts the car into the wall.
I'll tell you, that car's after letting go. I think something's let go in the car. Zalewski's car has given up on the transition. So we saw the smoke start to creep in at the end of the run, and I have a feeling it's bad damage to Heinen's car, but he won't care if he can get it through the battle. That's a big hit. That's a big hit between both guys there. Oh, the drama of Drift Masters just keeps on coming. Laurie Heinen gets out of the car. Not a problem for Laurie Heinen, but Heinen's going to know he's got the win here. Laurie Heinen's going to know the job's done. But Adam Zalewski, I think something went on the car. I think Zalewski's had an issue with the car.
And Zalewski instantly apologises. He says, I'm so sorry.
I have a feeling something. Look at the front of Heinen's car.
I didn't see Heinen hit Zalewski.
He did.
I didn't see it.
He did. He hit him after the spin.
To be fair, I did a panda. I put my hands over my eyes, so I can't see it, Dave.
I'm just thinking now, Heinen, I think he's probably going to get the win here, which puts McKeever out of the championship. Let's call a spade a spade. But watch how hard he goes in here. Is Heinen's car going to be 100%? Watch, hits him. Big rebound into Heinen's front of the car there. So something of smoke. That's not from the tires. Let's be honest.
No.
Unless it's the radiator water coming out or something like that. Could be that too.
I think Zalewski went for a big flick across the circuit, trying to drive away from Heinen.
Yeah.
Because look, he's here, he's carrying a lot of speed, full throttle, and then he's like, it's the wrong place.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's the wrong place.
There. We haven't seen anything like that before. Where someone spins before the inner zone. So I'm going to say that maybe the car wasn't 100% or maybe just mistimed it, but the handbrake's there straight away. So I'm not sure if he mistimes or knows what's going on, but Heinen must have been like, oh no.
Well, we're going to see him real time here.
Heinen's coming in and he's like, oh no. He's going the wrong way. See Heinen, he's so calm. He just
instantly kills the car as well.
I happened to be in a crash there. He's just like, no chill. So just the camera just sees carnage running away. So we're going to get an official call. This will knock Dwayne McKeever out of the championship race and put Laurie Heinen one step closer to the 2024 championship. Heinen is in the top away from champion. And I'll tell you what, it's not been easy.
No.
And he's in a crash in the top 30 to do for the Heinen team to make sure that they can get that car 100% for that top 16 battle. And McKeever will watch on and say, I can still win the event, but I can't win the championship.
Can't win the championship now. It's over for him, Dave. Unfortunately for Dwayne McKeever, it is over right there. And it was all in the hands of Adam Zalewski.
It was.
Dwayne McKeever could do nothing about it. All he could do was hope that Adam Zalewski could take the win, but unfortunately not today, not on the occasion.
Well, we got Becky coming up to talk to Laurie Hine. He's all smiles, but he's probably a little shaken. He's just been in a crash. He's been in a crash. His car is wrecked, but he's also done really well.
I don't forget the car is already hanging on by a string. He's saying that they found water in the cylinders, which means
just have a look at the front arch on Laurie Hinen's car, and I'll tell you that car is not pretty good.
It's not good.
A lot's been pushed back there. That was and he's hit a car that's dead stop, so that's when it does the damage. Whoa, this is going to be a tense night. I can feel it already, and there's people throwing granules all over the place because there's oil all over the place and coolant all over the place. Becky, you're with Laurie Hinen. He's been in a crash, but he's won the battle. It's a mixed bag of emotions.
Laurie, not the way that you would want to get into top 16, but so far a win is a win and everything is creeping towards those championship points. You said to me that this inner clip here is quite difficult and that you think that there is grip changing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it feels like it's quite creepy, but after the clip it starts to go slippery. So it's really, really hard, and you kind of focus on too much on this part. So yeah, easy to make a mistake here.
You told us in the pre-show that you were having a few issues with your car beforehand. You've just done the run. How is the car feeling now?
It's feeling good on the runs. I guess it just stops working when it doesn't work anymore. So yeah.
And you're going to take a quick look over the car. Do you think there's any damage from any contact here, or do you think you got away with it?
I think it was just cosmetic.
Okay, perfect. So just cosmetic. Well, Larry, you're into the top 16. One more step closer.
Yeah, let's see.
All right, guys, back to you.
Well, if there's ever a man that's not going to let the occasion overwhelm him, it's Laurie Hinen. I'll tell you what, if there's 20 people watching here, you'd have the same interview.
Same, yeah.
And that's, I think, what you've got to do if you want to win this championship. You can't let the occasion or the opponent get the better of you.
No.
And Laurie Hinen is ice cold. He's a killer. He's just out there trying to get the job done. And I think for the Finnish fans who watch him and have supported him and crowdfunded his journey for the last couple of years, they'll be so proud that he is holding it together. Because the last thing they would have wanted is him to come here, fall apart, qualify down the order or not qualify, or something, the whole dream fall down the toilet. But Laurie Hinen just keeps producing. It looks like no matter what you throw at him, it's bullets bouncing off him.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's had this mindset, this attitude all season as well, Dave. And he said to me, even after Spain, he said, I want the championship this year. This is what we're fighting for. This is what we've built this car for. We've rebuilt the car in the off-season for winning this championship now. He said, we know what we need to do. He said, and every battle I take, battle by battle, qualifying run, every run by run, he said, I don't worry about where I am in the championship. I like to fight from the bottom, but it's been a tough one.
Yeah, well, we're going to go down to Becky, who's there with Adam Zalewski. Becky, what went wrong? Such an uncharacteristic mistake from Adam there. He hits the wall. He must be devastated.
Adam, your face paints a picture right now. I can see the disappointment. Can you tell us in your own words what happened on that inner clip there?
So basically, in the first round when I was chasing Laurie, I'm not sure if I touched him somewhere a little bit too hard. I felt in the second round that my steering doesn't feel the same on the transition. I let the wheel go and it kind of stopped in the middle or something like that. I don't know, it feels like I really felt good on this track. I wanted to push, all the practice was fine, and such a thing happens in the middle of the second round basically. I felt confident on this track, I really wanted to push, but it is what it is. I would like to say big thank you to all of the Polish fans that cheer me up during this weekend. You are really amazing, and I cannot wait to come back next season with more testing, more seat time, and of course more lessons that we gathered during this season. So I'm really happy.
You just took my next question away from me. Obviously, we will only see you next year now, but obviously you are going to join us at Drift Masters in the 2025 season.
Of course, I'm gonna join now with more support, hopefully with more seat time, as I mentioned. And once again, thank you all very much to all of the fans from all over the world for supporting this beautiful sport which is drifting. And let's hope we can fix the car. Of course, we will fix the car.
You got some time now.
But let's hope that the damage is not too big and we can save the engine and all of that, right?
So, Adam, you're going to sit yourself up here now. Who are you going to be supporting in the stands? Obviously, we've got our championship contenders. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Who do you think is going to take the top spot?
I think Laurie has a really big chance this season. I am watching his driving, and it's unbelievable. The guy 2 years ago was a wild card. I remember my battle with him in Riga, which back then I won actually. And looking, right now at his level of driving, it's impressive how much he upgraded himself, I would say. And I'm counting on Laurie, to be honest.
Okay, fantastic. I'm sorry this happened, but I'm glad that you're okay, and we'll see you this afternoon in the stands somewhere, and we'll see you in the 2025 season. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you very much, guys.
Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Becky. Well, look, it's great to hear the positive vibes from Adam Zalewski after what must be a quite dejecting exit to the competition, but a great ambassador for the sport and someone who's very passionate, very emotional, and that's what we like in drivers. We like people that are, living their heart on their sleeve, and they go out there and they tell you the truth. And I think we have such great characters from so many countries in this championship that you follow them and you start to feel the vibe, right? You see there, Adam Zalewski was a champion when Heinen comes on the scene, and he becomes a wild card, and then here we are a couple of years later, Laurie Heinen. And I think Laurie Heinen has been a great inspiration for everybody who wants to get into the sport, because if you're watching on right now, just remember Laurie Heinen, from a modest background, he is a normal day-to-day job, he has turned up as an unknown wild card, he has put the work in. For a couple of years nobody cared who he was, and all of a sudden he worked and he practiced and he got better and he improved the car, and now all of a sudden everyone knows who he is, and that's the story, right? So here we go. Here's how we are at the moment. We're going to see McKeever and Rintonen go at it in top 16. Peltola and Pascalti, another wild battle. Poitalaxo and Connor Shanahan. Viansek and Shanahan again. Jack Shanahan and Peter Viansek. Tor Arnie Kavia and Adam LZ. Laurie Heinen against the winner of our next battle. And we've got a couple more battles to go in the top 32. Before we finish the top 32 and head towards our top 16 here for the main event at the biggest drift event in the world here in the PGE Narodowy in Poland and Warsaw, and we're getting warmed up for a big finish now. Look at James Dean and Taste of That. That's the last battle that's important. Remember, if James Dean loses that battle, Laurie Heinen is champion. So if James Dean loses this battle, Laurie Heinen is champion. James Dean losing battles doesn't happen very often, but the way Taste of That has been driving this year, you just never know.
You don't know.
And it is one of those nights where anything can happen.
And we always say the occasion.
And James Dean went out top 32 in Hungary, just putting it out there with a mechanical failure. So it is always possible. Anything can happen. And I'm not saying it's going to happen.
You're creating
I'm just saying, don't get too far down one storyline before you have to come all the way back into the multiverse and go another storyline.
Yeah, no, it's easy to do as well.
No, Johnny Sweeps is back out again.
Yeah, we've got a lot of coolant down there, apparently. That's what it is for the front radiator, which cools the...
steam, smoke from the car was the radiator, was the coolant.
Was the coolant, yeah. Which isn't for the engine cooling, it's for the turbocharging cooling.
Yeah.
We've got BMW.
Now he's got rid of the other guy now, look. He said I can drive this.
He got sacked.
Yeah, he got sacked. He said you're on the camera there doing nothing. So now one lad can drive that. You don't need two lads driving that. It's only a small little thing. So they got rid of him. They've got the Pro in now.
Got the Pro.
Yeah. There you go. You can see the Drift Dynasty. Will the dynasty be created tonight by Finland? Will they be the highest ranked drift country in Europe? Well, it's all pointing in that direction right now.
Of course, we crown a champion. We also crown our Nations Cup champions as well, Dave. And
I think Ireland are probably fairly secure on that, but let's be honest, it's the championship that everyone wants, the Drivers' Championship. You see James Dean now, his cousin there, just they're building up, just having a look at and what James is doing is watching the previous runs to see where the grip is, to see where the puddles are, to see what the issues are. It's a very strategic sport. It might just be skidding the cars around, but these guys take it very, very seriously, and any advantage they can get, they'll look for it.
Oh, they certainly will, Dave. And he'll also be looking at where these oil spills are, where the slippery parts are on the circuit. He'll be looking for where to avoid, where to try and get the car balanced perfectly. If the car suddenly goes loose, why did it go loose there? And it could be on one of those patches. James Dean, a very experienced driver, Dave, and we know that we can throw anything at him and he'll deal with it. But on this occasion, he'll be going up against a man who will want to take him down. It's a Setter will not want to lay down and let James Dean walk all over him, because he'll want to be in that top 16.
Exactly, and I think the thing about it is we also have some big battles coming up for some other, top 10 championship contenders. So, I mean, drivers are going to want to get up as far as they can in the order. Big thing to say, I mean, you got to top 10. I'm in the top 5 drivers in the world. A lot of people would say, Drift Masters probably up there in the top, standings. If you're top 5 or top 10 in this championship, you're no joke. You're considered by everybody around the world to be one of the best drifters in the world, and that's what, it might not just be the championship on the line. There's a lot of bragging rights as well in behind the scenes, and a lot of drivers wanted to say had a poor start to the season, want to recover that. Are we also noticing how many people have just arrived into the stadium in the last 20 minutes as we warm up for this top 16, the night event? It's starting to get full.
Well, I'm looking out, and all of the stairways are now just floods of people, moving around the stadium, going to get some refreshments or making their way to their seats. And every minute that passes by, there's more and more seats that are getting filled. It's incredible.
Rumour has it they all came here to see us, Ian, but I'm just that's only a rumour. It's only a rumour.
I don't think so, Dave.
Yeah, definitely come here to see the judges anyway.
Not those guys anyway.
They have to hide them so far away. Rumor has it the judges are actually in a different stadium because they have that many people in one area hating them. They didn't want them there, so they moved them to a secure location down the road, a bunker, I believe.
I think
fully armed bunker for the. We're right beside them.
We're right beside them.
We're right beside them. We're right beside them.
I'm not. I don't know where you
we're
are.
Right beside them. Yeah, they're miles away. So we're having some fun, and that's the whole point of drifting. I know we take it super serious, and everybody gets online and starts, blah 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 blah. But remember, this sport, which started with people skidding cars on the mountain roads of Japan, has turned into a stadium event with 50,000 people. And because you're so numb to this now, you might look at the smallest of judging decisions or car setups or driver wins or losses. Look at where we are as a sport. We were the joke, the laugh of the motorsport world, and now we're filling national stadiums. And Taylor Swift isn't going to put on as good a show as we are this weekend. I'm going to put it on there.
Oh, wow. That's a big statement.
Questionable. Well, Kevin O'Connell's a big fan of Taylor Swift, so we'll argue that.
Yes, he's got all the wristbands. Yeah.
If he gets thrown out of here, that's Taylor Swift and the drift event he's been thrown out of in the last couple of months. But I'll tell you what I like about it is that we are getting to that level now where we can really just sit back and enjoy. And I'll tell you why we're at this level. Because the drivers are so good and because they have put so much into this. You look out there and you see all those stickers and liveries on the cars. Forget all that. The amount of self-sacrifice each one of these drivers have to put in. They've sacrificed parts of their lives. They've built, doing up their own house, career moves. They've committed it to this sport, which never gave them a promise of this event of 50,000 people. This didn't exist when every driver on the grid wanted to become a drifter. This was blind faith from all of them, and that's what I love about it. That blind faith being rewarded by having all of these amazing fans come to the stadium and show them how much that they appreciate their talents and their sacrifice. It's a beautiful thing. We're going to go trackside with Becky Evans. She's down there. Becky, big cleanup on all 9 at the moment down there. What's the vibe?
Well, actually, Dave, I'm down here in the paddock just checking on things with Larry Heinenen's car here. We've had some confirmation that it is only cosmetic. The radiator's fine, the bash bar looks pretty good. They're just kind of sorting out the headlight, making sure that the bumper fits nicely so she looks nice and pretty for top 16. So thankfully, it's all looking good. But what I can also tell you is that the storm that has been predicted has now started to set in. So thank goodness we decided to go with the wet conditions inside the track because this is getting pretty gnarly out here. Guys, I'm going to pass it back up to you. I hope the track's looking better.
Thank you, Becky. Well, the track looks better than it does outside. I'd rather be inside than outside, because outside everything's blowing around the place. The storm has set in, but we have a storm of our own being settled here on the track as we see 2 more drivers warm up. Connor Falvey, well, he's been the 2024 Rookie of the Year, 16 years of age, and he's been to school for 2 weeks in between Hungary and Poland. He's back to school on Monday morning, youngest driver on the grid, and boy, he's one to get himself another rematch with Benediktas Čurba. They went head-to-head in Finland, but it did mechanical issues with both cars. Benediktas Čurba, one of the best drivers in the world right now, the Lithuanian flag flying high, and these two in a Finnish rematch now with both cars working. So I think both drivers now are going to want it. They both even said, I saw on social media, they wanted a fair fight. Yeah. Well, now they're going to get one here in the stadium to finish off the series. It is going to be Connor Falvey in the chase position, Benediktas Čurba in the lead position. This is just what you love to see. One of the biggest names and most experienced drivers in the grid going up against the new wave, going up against the new rookie on the grid. This one is going to be exciting, and it looks like we got a ton of coolant and oil and granules everywhere as well. So it's going to be a roller coaster ride. Here we go. Čurba will take the lead position. He was the higher qualifier, and he would love to put a smile on the Lithuanian fans' faces here as he comes through the gears. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Look at this. Benediktas Čurba flicks that car across the circuit. Connor Falvey goes for that straight line approach, fires that car in. Oh, it's a brave move from Connor Falvey, and it pays off because he's right in the pocket as Čurba leads them through that first outside zone. Now they come in to these inside zones, and the track looks absolutely perfect as Connor Falvey flicks that S15 once again back into the zone. But he's lost a little ground on Benediktas Čurba, and he has to shallow up the angle and pop out of that outside zone. Čurba on an absolute flyer right now as a big mistake in the middle of the circuit from Connor Falvey. Straight lines it almost as they get into the second to last outside zone. Čurba on that perfect lead line as Falvey goes for the front wheel. Čurba takes the spoiler off the car.
Oh, well, nobody's backing down. No. Last event of the season, everybody's going for it, and brave dive into the first corner from Connor Falvey. But Benedictus Churba for me, like when he look at the angle that the chase driver puts in here, but Churba's lead run is, look at that, right, just flexing that spoiler off the wall. Clinical, classic Churba, right, doing everything he needs to do. Falvi does a good job in the chase, stays with him the whole way around the track, doesn't let the Lithuanian driver get away from him, but here, just on the transition, Churba found an extra little bit of pace and took it away from Falvi, and I think at that point he's dialing off the angle and dialing off the speed to try and stay with that bright yellow E92, and here's the biggest mistake for me. Falvi has the handbrake there, and he's kind of on a straight line angle as he transitions, so it's an error. He should have been on a little bit more angle mirroring that lead car. So for me, after the first run, I'm thinking maybe advantage Churba in that particular occasion. Just going to put it out there. But hey, there's 2 runs.
I was
Nobody
just going
knows
to say,
what's
there's
going to happen.
another run yet.
But I think from a subjective looking at that, I think Churba's got half the job done. Can he get the second half done as he chases down the 16-year-old into that first corner?
Oh, and it's aggressive from Churba already looking for the back bumper, now looks for the side, and he goes for a big dive in. Churba puts the back bumper and the spoiler and the tailgate up the wall, trying to find that proximity. As Conor Falvey flexes the front bumper on the wall, they both transition perfectly, but look at this from Churba. He's absolutely glued to the side of the young gun from Ireland, as Churba will not want to go down without a fight. He pushes Conor Falvey around the circuit, goes for the transition back as Falvey now looks for outside zone 6 as they fire through, and look at this from Churba. He's glued to the rear wheel, won't want to let him get away. Big angle thrown on from Conor Falvey, but there's no shaking the Lithuanian.
That was phenomenal from both of those drivers. Wow,
what a battle.
That was, I was equally entertained from the lead and the chase. The lead was wild. Watch this. Churba goes into the pocket here. He goes deep. Falvey goes in the wall. Churba goes in the wall. But they're inches from each other as they come through. And then watch the front bumper of Falvey here on the transition. He leaves nothing to the imagination. In on the wall. Churba just avoids the contact. But look at this. Churba gets stuck in the pocket, but he gets out of the pocket. Back on the door. He disposes of Falvey's rear bumper on the transition. They're up onto the door, and they're pushing each other around the track. The taillights falling out of Falvey's car. Churba's car barely held together. And this for me, the transition from Churba here, watch this. Dives here, and it's brave and it's perfect up onto the door. Churba just using his experience there and saying, hey, young gun, you know, I know a thing or two. I know a thing or two. I've got the, you know, you say you can't teach old dogs new tricks. You don't have to when he's got all the tricks.
Look at the proximity. Brilliant drive from Benedictus Churba.
Amazing. You know what? You got to say, we've got such a fun championship ahead of us, even next year when you got everyone at this level now. It's just going to be wild from the start. Amazing stuff to see. Benedictus Churba in that chase position, and the Lithuanian fans hold their breath. Will they get themselves into the top 16? The judges will make their call. And Benedictus Churba gets the win and goes through to the top 16. And I think mathematically, well, he'll still be all smiles. I think Conor Falvey is going to take 2024 Rookie of the Year at this point.
Well deserved as well, Dan.
And it's going to be smiles from him. But Benedictus Churba deservedly going through to the top 16. Phenomenal performance. And I've got to say, the 2 moves he made in the transition, well, that sealed the deal for me. And he'll be all smiles. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just be really, really aggressively going to the top 16, ready to win the event. I think Churba wants to win one here.
I just looked at something.
Oh, did you?
Don't look at it.
No, not looking at it yet.
Don't look at it.
Yep, just going to back off. We
just forget about it.
Noticed a few things. Here's another one.
Happened.
Championship on the line. James Dean wins the championship, still has a mathematical chance of being 2024 champion. Outside chance, but a chance all the same. Laurie Heinen's in the bus. He's not on the bus home. He's in the bus in the car park, which is his bus. He is waiting to see what happens here. If James Dean loses this battle to Atesida, another young gun on the grid, 18 years of age. He loses this, Heinen's champion. That's it. 2024 champion, Laurie Heinen. And Laurie Heinen's probably listening to me say that right now and smiling. Hey, Laurie, how's things? So we're going to say that Laurie Heinen is going to be champion if James Dean loses. Although, if I was to put all of my bets on someone not to lose, it would probably not be James Dean, the most successful driver in the history of the sport. So we're not quite knowing what's going to happen, but hey, every battle's a battle and anything can happen. James Dean looked like he was the favourite against Pazur in Hungary, but a mechanical failure knocked him out in 32. And here we go, big one for the championship on the line. Dean has to win it to stay in the championship. If not, he'll be settling for second or third in the championship, which is still an amazing achievement considering he didn't make the first round because of an event clash. So just putting that out there. The fact that he's missed a round and he's still in the championship race puts us all in perspective of how much of a robot this man is to do what he does. And he's currently in the top 2 of both sides of the Atlantic at the moment in the championship in 1 year. Just put that out there. So here we go, Atesida. Well, he's going up against the best in the business. Atesida said to me that James Dean was his favourite driver in the world and the driver that inspired him to be a drifter. Well, now he goes up against, imagine, that's like kicking a football around and then taking on Ronaldo a couple of weeks later. Let's see what happens here as James Dean leads in Ite Sada.
Yeah, James Dean going for that big wild initiation he's been pulling off all weekend. He fires it in, and Ite Sada gives him some room to manoeuvre, loses a little ground now, starts to creep up onto the front wheel on the door of James Dean's S15. He kicks the clutch aggressively, does Ite Sada, but he fires on too much angle and he's going to lose some ground, and he loses a lot of ground on that big angle transition, and James Dean wobbles in that outside zone now. Ite Sada finds himself on the inside, trying to hunt down James Dean, but it's aggressive from Dean, and he's flying that car around. He's not messing around. He's a championship drive, but look at Ite Sada now finds that proximity, looks for the side of the X15. They get into the last outside zone. Dean fires on the angle, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, Dean, I mean, I think this is the first time that James, I spoke to him briefly before the top 32, and he said, you know what, it's kind of fun to be chasing it. Because he said, usually I'm defending it. But he said it's actually quite fun, because he said my expectations are low and my hopes are high. So he said that I'm not expecting to win the championship, so all that pressure has gone off me. Usually he said he's going in here defending. So I think James Dean is enjoying it. It was a really free-flowing run, as you said. A couple of wobbles on this zone, but everything else from Dean was, I think, business as usual. It looked to me like it tasted. I just had no answer to the pace, and it's strange to say that when we have the equaliser of the wet surface.
Yeah, exactly that. And there's still a lot of grip out there, Dave. You see a lot of these guys saying that it's very grippy out there, even though it is a wet circuit. Here we go. The back on the line, ready to go. Ite Sada will lead out James Dean. For a spot in the top 16 awaits. Let's keep that championship hope alive. They get the green light, they are ready to go. Dean now follows Ite Sada down. He's going to go for this straight line transition, that flick in straight onto the front wheel, and no messing around from James Dean. Ite Sada gets him into the outside zone now, starts to flow, starts to pull away, but Dean is right with him. He goes for that transition on the back bumper. Dean gives him the room as they now look for outside zone 4. A little wobble there from Ite Sada. Dean deals with it, but Dean's on the inside now, and Dean has to shallow up the angle, flicks it to angle as they exit the outside zone. Ite Sada's going to go for a long flick, a long line into this outside zone. It kind of leaves Dean asking the question, where is he going to go? But he answers it. Now James Dean needs to stamp his authority, runs over the back bumper of Ite Sada, jumps onto the door.
I think that's job done. I think Dean has done enough there. I think Ite Sada bravely fought his way back much better in the lead position, but yeah, I think Dean is just a little too strong there. I mean, he's generally too strong for most people, but it wasn't perfect from James Dean in the lead and chase. There was moments where, but I think sometimes he got a little stuck on the inside, which he's got to learn from, because that's something that we saw Jack Shannon make a mistake on as well, of just having that little bit too much grip in the car. Sure, you pull a gap in the lead position, but in the chase you can get yourself caught up on the inside with a car on the outside that's just spinning wheels and you're gripping and going. So they've got to be careful. I mean, there's a lot of strategy now in this, because if Dean sets the car up that way in future, he could find himself on the inside of the track again if someone's not dialed up. Maybe less grip is an advantage.
Yeah.
But this is pretty good. Again, not major angle from James Dean. I think he was playing this one cautious a little bit.
I was just going to say, I wonder if he's playing a safe game here, Dave. I don't think he's doing too much.
Yeah, about 80% there, just to keep things moving, get there towards the end. He's such a controlled driver. I feel like a lot of, look at Laurie Heine, he's like, he smiles, he's like, oh no.
I know what's going to happen here.
Why can't he just fall down one day? Why can't he just make a mistake? So will the championship still be open for James Dean? It is indeed. Dean moves on to the top 16. He's still in the championship mathematically, but things get a little bit confusing from here. We're going to have to tell you all about it in the top 16, or maybe at the end of this bracket I'll be able to tell you what it does mean.
Yeah.
So we move it along. The Irish are happy. The fans, another of their drivers into the top 16. It's going to be a big top 16. I'm looking at those names lining up. If you want to stick with us to the end here of top 32, we're going to show you what that all means as we move it along to our next bunch of drivers to the start line. And it's going to be Max Heidrich going up against Paweł Korpelinski. Korpelinski coming off the back of two back-to-back podiums.
Yeah.
And now he said here, got a little story about Paweł Korpelinski. A week ago, broke his collarbone.
Oh, really?
Went to the doctor and said, I have a big race coming up. I need to be put back together. And they did a full operation and recovery within 1 week, and he's moving his arm, no problem. I've never seen anything like it. He's like Wolverine down there. Yeah, broke his collarbone clean in half. They pinned it all back together, put it all back together. He fell off a motorcycle, put it all back together, fixed it all back up again, and he said it's 100%. In a week.
No way.
You could go ask him.
He never said that. I interviewed him yesterday, and he
said, let me get to the finals, because he said he was going to use that as an excuse for everyone. Here we go. He's up against Max Heidrich now. Max Heidrich said Korpelinski took him down the last time they went to the stadium. He said he's ready for this one. Big angle from Max Heidrich from Germany as he fires into that first corner. Oh, Heidrich using the wall as a crutch there to bounce back out of it. Pinball stations on the first corner. Korpelinski says, I'm not having any part of that until you settle down. And he transitions back. Korpelinski with shallow angle trying to get to Max Heidrich. Heidrich is on a flyer here. Big speed, big angle. But he's making a lot of contact with the wall as Korpelinski's using the exact opposite approach. Very tentative, small angle, but he's staying in the mix now. Korpelinski starts to make the dive, making no major errors. Oh, you can see that Korpelinski got stuck a little bit on the shallow line there, and now look at this, they're kind of wandering and wavering out of the last zone there. Two very different driving styles. Oh, they run into each other after the finish line. I gotta say, like, very little angle from Korpelinski, massive angle from Heidrich. Heidrich hitting everything that'll move on the track, but he's on big angle and big speed. So what way would you judge it?
And I mean, look, for me, I'm looking at this like Heidrich is coming here with all the aggression. He's throwing the car around, he's putting it in the zones. Yes, he's making a little bit of contact with the wall, and it is a little bobbly here and there, but there was no real answer for Korpelinski. He's having to shallow up the angle. He finds himself on the inside on one of these zones as well. It's not clean from Korpelinski, and then near the end, after this transition, Korpelinski kind of gets a little bit scrappy, starts to make some big dives towards Max Heidrich, and it doesn't look good from a chase driver's perspective. I don't know, Dave. I wouldn't want to judge this one. We've still got one half of the battle to go.
What you got here is two very different styles.
Yeah, very different.
Very clinical, and I would say, you from so much
calculated.
Yeah, from so much sim driving, Korpelinski, he's like a machine. He just makes no mistakes. And that's very difficult in a sport with so many variables. Max Heidrich is like, you just wind them up and send them out into the stadium and see what happens. So it's going to be very interesting to see which way it works out. I think there could be some hits here if Heidrich doesn't calm this one down.
Yeah, Heidrich goes for it. Look at this, he's deeper into the zone than what Korpelinski is, but it's a little scrappy from Max Heidrich as Korpelinski now puts the front bumper of the S14 in to that inner zone. They fire through, and now Korpelinski seems to have the pace, but now he tags the wall. Heidrich makes a dive, and now he's got the proximity. Look at this, mirroring the angle, mirroring the speed, mirroring the proximity all the way through. A little shy for Heidrich there as he now has to make an adjustment coming into the second to last outside zone. He's lost some ground to Korpelinski. Korpelinski looking scrappy, tagging the wall, hitting the bumper, bouncing off the wall, and they lose that proximity right at the end of the run.
Yeah,
Korpelinski hit the wall after the finish line as well,
which is okay. You need anything you want after the finish line. It doesn't matter for the score.
No.
But it's hard to know. Again, Korpelinski's lead run, it's technically pretty good, but there's not major aggression. It's very calculated, and Heidrich is kind of, again, super aggressive in the chase at moments. He hits walls, he's diving, I think this is going to come down to the judges and see which way they want to reward. You can reward Heidrich for, he doesn't really have much proximity, but then is Korpelinski pulling that gap by not having a huge amount of angle? I mean, he's much faster without the angle than Heidrich was the other way, because Heidrich is on big angle on the walls. He's allowing Korpelinski to get closer. I don't know. Very hard for me to call this one, because this is a more of a, what are you weighing on more? It's not a mistake. There's no real mistakes.
No real mistakes.
It's about this Korpelinski inch perfect everywhere, but without any risk or massive angle or anything too crazy. Heidrich, moments of brilliance, much more angle, much more style. There's a big mistake from Korpelinski there. He does hit the wall pretty hard.
He has to shallow up massively there as well. Yeah. He's in the wall at that point. He's shedding body panels, and there, boom, look, hits the wall.
I don't know. This is a tough one.
Yeah, I really don't know, Dave, to be honest with you. And you know that the judges have made it clear that this is what they want to see, and I think it could swing one way or the other, Dave. That's all I'm going to say about that battle. Some beautiful shots from our Phantom slow-mo camera.
Yeah. Here we go. So it's going to be a decision. I have no idea. I'm looking forward to hearing what the judges say on this one. Max Heidrich, all smiles. Korpelinski, all smiles.
Korpelinski looks a little stressed.
He does. The man broke his collarbone a week ago. I just told you that. This is an amazing achievement.
This is and you know what? When we always can't make a decision, I looked across to the judges, and David Callas, Matty, and Kevin O'Connell were discussing this one and looking back at the replay. So I don't think this is clear cut as what either of us. And I can see all judges throwing some hands around, Dave, throwing some shapes.
So, as I mentioned, Max Heidrich, he said this year it was a struggle. He said this year it's not been the easiest for him. He's tried his very, very best to be as consistent as he can. He doesn't want to change his style. He wants that wild style. He wants fans to see that big angle and that aggression. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always work within the criteria of what modern drifting is. And Korpelinski knows the criteria better than anybody, and he does exactly what the judges want him to do. So looking back on it now, Korpelinski with the much cleaner lead and chase, but is that what's going to be enough? And it is going to be enough as Paweł Korpelinski gets the win and goes through. The Polish fans are happy with that one. And I'm going to come back to you, Kevin, very quickly on this. Look at that, he's delighted. Yeah, so we saw two very different styles there. Big angle and aggression, but mistakes, versus, I suppose, no big risk, but clinical. In the end, the clinical paid out.
Absolutely, Dave. It was an extremely close battle. Again, back to the lead runs, relatively similar overall, so it all came down to the chase runs for us. And as you said, Pavel had the proximity, but he was lacking an angle and making some corrections throughout, whereas Max was maximum angle, as always, but just didn't have that proximity and didn't really utilise any of his advantage that he had. So realistically, it came down to basically a half a point overall, but Pavel just did enough to take it in the end.
Oh, so Korpelinski scraping through, just half a point in it, and that's fair to me, I think.
Half a point.
Half a point. You don't want to be, that's very close. So now moving on. If you're a fan of yellow cars, this is going to be your favourite battle of the whole weekend, because two yellow cars, one from Estonia, one from Holland, and two drivers that have been excellent in qualifying. And let's see how they battle it out here in the top 32. It'll be Clint Van Oort, if I'm not mistaken, in the lead position as the higher qualifier. I think he qualified 6th, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere around that.
Yep,
yeah, 6th. And Randalou, 27th in qualifying.
Randalou is going to take a different approach here.
He's going to go from back to back, is he?
And there's no, this weekend, there is no set, you have to be side by side.
Okay, so the chase driver can decide.
So the chase driver
can
decide.
I'd be in the tunnel and I'd come through at 70 miles an hour just as they're waving the flag.
But I tell you what, Dave,
crash into the lead
you
car.
would go up the freestyle motocross
I'd be up the ramp in the middle of the track. That's how I'd enter the first corner.
And then you'd land in the grass.
Land on the roof.
There's Dave.
Land on the roof of the chase car. But look, they can't all be geniuses like me. Here we go. Clint Van Oort in the lead position. It is going to be Oliver Randalou in the chase position. Clint Van Oort on good form at the moment, so is Randalou, so this one's going to be interesting.
Yeah, very
Two drivers who will feel very confident going into this one. As Clint Van Oort starts to drift early, big initiation coming in. Look at Randalou batching the angle on the way in.
Yeah, look at this from Randalou. Knows that Clint Van Oort's got a really nice lead line, a little too heavy though. Contact on the wall from Clint Van Oort, and now opens the door for Oliver Randalou. He would have seen that mistake from Clint Van Oort. Now he's going to try and capitalise on it as he dives through into that long outside zone 4. As Clint Van Oort wants to keep the back end off the wall now. No more mistakes for Clint Van Oort. A little wobble from Randalou as he tries to chase down the Dutch driver. He come through a nice transition, but a little stall up from both guys as they work their way into outside zone 6, and they come through, and look at that flex on the back end from Clint Van Oort, but Oliver Randalou's right there with him, puts the wheel towards the door and across the line.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we heard the judges yesterday qualifying saying they don't want to see cars buried in the wall, smooshed in the walls, you would say.
Yeah, it's my favourite
up
word.
to the wheel. And Clint Van Oort, that's a style that he definitely likes to do.
He's adopted this year.
He loved that smoosh in the wall. But he does it at the end of the run, and I'm not sure if it's going to deduct the points. What I liked about Randalou here is you see very safe initiations from even the best drivers here, just straight line enters. And he didn't. He followed all the angle in. I like that. It was really impressive. He kind of followed him the whole way through that Manji on the way in.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen anyone do that. They all kind of seem to straight line in, wait for the lead car to make their decision and then go. So it was brave stuff from Randalou, and he stuck with it the whole lap.
Yeah, he did. He certainly did. And I'm going to see Clint Van Oort doing a few runs of the circuit, Dave. I wonder if that car's getting a little warm after a lot of competition this year from Clint Van Oort. He's been getting a lot of seat time behind the scenes, trying to improve his driving. And says he'll be back for 2025 in a brand new car.
Yeah. He's going to build another S14 because he's definitely made mincemeat of this one over the last year and a half.
Or will he build a BMW? Because apparently there's brand new 2 Series at the DBM workshop.
Oh, really? Hey, I'm not giving anything away. Mostly because I don't know.
You just did.
Because I don't know.
You just said an S14.
I think it's an S14. Or it could be a BMW.
It could be a BMW.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter now. No. This one's still got work to do. He's coming off the line. Clint Van Oort in the chase position. Oliver Randalou in the lead position. Clint Van Oort's going to go for the straight line chase approach here. So he can try and get in at the last second, and does.
He does, he goes for it. Oliver Randalou buried into the wall though, back end flexing, but not as much contact as Clint Van Oort. Clint Van Oort now looks for the side of that E46 BMW, very close. They both tag the wall almost, but look at this from Clint Van Oort. More proximity, but he's in the wall and it upsets the line. He's had to reinitiate. Big clutch kick from Clint Van Oort, get himself back into it, and Oliver Randalou holds on to this one for the moment. And they flick it through the middle of the circuit. Randalou, a little dab on the handbrake, sets himself up for this long outside zone now. Sticks it to the wall, and he'll stay on the wall. Both guys get buried into it, but Clint Van Oort makes a mistake and goes too far into the wall.
No, that was definitely the most body panels damaged of any run, I think, from the start to the finish. I think that's got to be the Clint Van Oort hit everything.
Well, yeah, he does that.
The thing is,
that's
though,
his
he's got a
style.
yellow car and the walls are yellow, so you don't notice it as much on his body panels. But he hit a bit. I'll tell you what, if we went out there, he'd hit us as well.
Oh, he certainly
he
would.
was in there and everything. But I'll tell you what.
Look at the replay, though, for me. From
Randall
Randall
goes deep in, so he's wedged in the wall there.
But it's not too bad. I think for me, he's tickling the back end. He's just flexing.
Watch this from Van Aert. This is wild. Look at this transition he does
Well,
here.
he hits the wall. Watch.
No, watch, look. He transitions. This camera's about to go by, I would imagine. Yeah. Bloop. And then he goes straight through there, smashes the front again, transitions back, but makes it work, but just goes that little too fast, and then hits here.
They both do.
I don't think he could judge. Because Randall went wide, he couldn't judge. Watch Randall's rear end, he couldn't judge it either. So he hits and he hits. Okay.
Yeah.
Not so much Van Aert's fault there, yeah. It looked
So-
to me like it was independent from Van Aert, but now that I see it on the replay, Randall goes a little deep. Watch this. I think he hits him here. Little flex. I thought flex in the front bumper on Van Aert's car. That was really good. And then here they both said, let's just smash into the wall for about 10 seconds. But they just massively buried
But
it.
that was a big mistake from Clint Van Aert.
Van Aert goes in heavy, then Randall right here. Look, he goes in a little heavy. Yeah. I don't know. Judges are going to have to make a call, and both drivers won't know.
No.
We don't know. All we know is the yellow car is going through. But will it be from Estonia? Will it be from the Netherlands? Oliver Randall gets the win and goes through. And Oliver Randall delighted with that result. And I'm going to go very quickly back to Kevin. Kevin just hit too many things.
Yeah, Clint just making far too many mistakes over the course of the 2 runs, unfortunately, and Randall being a very clean and clinical driver. But realistically, when Clint was in his chase run and he came in a little bit too hot and made contact with the wall on outer zone 4, that really sealed his fate for us, Dave. And overall, Randall taking the win.
I can see it much smoother from Randall. Clint Van Aert brought all the style, brought the wildness, brought that aggression, but it didn't work out on that occasion. Now, here we go. 2 very normal cars you're going to see in drift competition these days. You're going to see a 180 with a Boss kit front with 1100 horsepower going up against a Toyota Soarer. So, yeah, classic Norway versus El Salvador here in the stadium in Poland. And here we have 2 drivers that have never been in competition before. Nasser Al-Habali, who lives in the United Arab Emirates right now, built this car in the UAE, shipped it here for the championship. It's the most high horsepower car on the grid. But it's not going to matter a whole lot when you're in the wet surface. And then we've got Oren Nielsen, who I think has been one of the standout stars of the season. He's into the top 10 at the moment in the championship. He could go way higher in the order if he succeeds here. So Oren Nielsen will know all about it. Nasser Al-Habali wants that first big win in the balance this year. This is going to be all or nothing for both of these guys.
It certainly is. Look at this. Nielsen goes for it. Al-Habali has to hold back a little bit there now as he fires in, looks for the side of Oren Nielsen, and he finds it. Both get into the wall, both heavy contact, and it upsets Nasser Al-Habali more than it does with Oren Nielsen. Nielsen fires it through now, and it's a weird transition from Al-Habali. He nearly makes contact with Nielsen, but they both deal with it. As now Oren Nielsen goes in, gets into the wall, but look at Habali's on the inside. He's struggling with that grip, maybe put too much into it. It's a big mistake for Nasser Al-Habali as they fire through now. And Nielsen goes for it. Oh, contact. Habali hits Nielsen, almost puts them both into the wall. Nielsen deals with it, gets the back bumper on the wall and across the line.
Oh. I think Oren Nielsen's going to feel like he was in a boxing match there. He was just punched and punched and punched throughout the course. I think Nasser was going for that big aggressive chase run, but it just didn't work out. A couple of the transitions, and he ended up in the middle of the track or on the inside, and we saw it happen to the best. James Dean, Jack Shannon, a couple of guys there getting stuck on that inside. It's very hard to work the car back out.
It certainly is hard to get the car back out. Once you're there, you're there. Look at that, takes that inner cone down. This was, for me, I think he scared himself a little on that transition. He see the back end of that Soarer come flicking past and he thought, I don't want to hit him. This is a big mistake though. Big handbrake drag, reinitiates in the middle of the circuit. It's not good from Nasser Al-Habali.
I'll tell you what, he kind of straightens up twice and hits him, so I'm going to put it out there and say advantage Oren Nielsen. I don't think so.
You don't think it was an incomplete?
No, I think it's just going to be deducted heavily. He does have 2 pretty big straightens, and he also has a big hit into Oren Nielsen. There was so much going on with Nasser that we didn't even look at Oren Nielsen for the run. We just kind of went, oh, he's still there, but look at the back of his car. He's definitely hit a few things himself in the lead position. Let's see how it goes. Last round of the year, everything's kind of held together with hopes and dreams. Nasser Al-Habali in the lead position, and Oren in the chase. Oren comes in very aggressive from Oren Nielsen. Nasser buries the car into the wall. as Oren Nielsen now tries to adapt in that chase position as they transition through very close to the wall as Oren Nielsen in the chase, but he's staying back just that right amount. A big angle from Nasser here as he slows the pace down. Big left foot brake lock up as well as Nasser tries to keep that car sideways. It looks like it's incredibly difficult to drive in these wet conditions, but he's doing a good job on the transition. Oren Nielsen now starting to make a move. A little bit of a wobble again from Nasser Al-Habali as they come into that last outer zone as Oren Nielsen goes up onto the door. And Oren Nielsen, I think the clever play there of staying just that far back that he wasn't going to get himself caught up in any mess.
No, I think Oren Nielsen did exactly the right thing there. Look at this, all the way back from initiation. He stayed in the fight. It was in the question, but he wasn't doing too much, Dave. And look at this, you can see Habali into that wall quite deep. Big damage on the back of that car. And Oren Nielsen just played it cool, kept his head in the game, and look, and that's a man who's been, you know, in the fight most of the season, on the podium as well. Some of the rounds, it's just. He's growing into this championship and he's learning so much from all these other drivers. And this is the first year for Nasser Al-Habali. He's on that learning curve of working out what the right thing to do is. And look at that from Oren Nielsen, laser focused as he's inches away from Habali's car.
The fans getting plenty of memory card full.
Phones will be full.
Yes.
By the end of this week.
We haven't even got to the
main event. Stop.
I'm not allowed to say what it is, right?
No.
It's fireworks.
Shut, Dave. Come on, man. That's enough. That's enough.
There's things happening.
This stuff.
It's going to be exciting.
Right?
It's just championship on the line. No? Okay. Don't want to overexcite everybody. Ian's trying to keep it on a need-to-know basis.
Well, I like to people be surprised when it happens.
Let's see who's going through. It's the last battle of our top 32. Who's going to make up the last step in the top 16? And it is going to be Oren Nielsen. Oren Nielsen gets himself through to the top 16. No major surprise there. I think Nasser Al-Habali looked like he was holding on a little bit on that one, but he did really good. He got through, he got to the top 32, and he's happy with that one. And it looks like we are going to have another very exciting top 16. I can't wait to show you this one because the championship is on the line in the top 16, which means that you guys are all going to have to come back and watch it because, I mean, you can't watch this without watching how it ends, right?
I mean, yeah, it's like watching
the biggest drift event of the year
then
on the line. And he can't get into his car.
He can't get into the car.
So Oren Nielsen, that's him. He's eliminated from competition. He can't get into his car. Oh, well, you got to stay there, Oren. And that's what happens. And he's also a right-hand drive car, as in for a left-hand drive country, for Norway.
This is hilarious, Dave.
Yeah. Do you know what?
He's like, oh.
I'll tell you what, there's a couple of dodgy mechanics in that pits that'll get into that pretty quickly.
There's a couple of thousand
Becky
people.
Evans now, she's from the UK. She'll be able to get into that.
He's like, we'll just cut the window out. It's not a problem. It's the last round.
Marston's like, I have just the tool for this.
We've got a hole in the roof and slot him in.
Yeah. No, you have to get in the other side, Orient. He's like, I can't get into the car.
He's like, there's nearly 50,000 people in it.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do it, Dave. There's no other option.
Yeah, this is not a dignified way to get out of it. Like he's climbing in.
And there's an onboard as well.
He looks like a spider trying to get into a nest. There he is. At least the Soar is quite spacious. He's not too bad. He got in there. Yeah, so we got to fix that door latch. A couple of hits from Nasser was enough to close that door. So let's have a look at the top 16 as it stands, and the championship will be on the line. Dwayne McKeever has to beat Juha Rintanen. Oh, sorry, he's out of the championship. He doesn't have to beat anyone, but he wants to.
He wants to.
And Juha Rintanen, it's going to be Kevin Piscotty against Timo Peltola, Connor Shannon against Juha Potaxo, Peter Vjainsek against Jack Shannon, Kavia against LZ, and this one, the championship's on the line. If Laurie Heinen beats Benediktas Cherba, he is your 2024 Drift Masters champion. If he doesn't, Dean against Korpelinski has to win that and win pretty much the whole event. So that's kind of where we're at. The championship's going to come down to the second half of the top 16, and Oren Nielsen will go up against Oliver Randalou. The biggest top 16 I would imagine we've ever had in the sport, as 50,000 will fill the PGE Narodowy for the finals. And I'll tell you what, Becky, we are now poised and ready for one hell of a finale.
Yes, absolutely, Dave. I cannot wait to see what's about to happen in our top 16. As you said, it's all going to come down to this. The championship contenders are still in there. Lauri Heinonen has to move forward unless Dean can come and chase him up. Right, guys, so make sure you join us for at 6:50 for our top 16. Buckle up, get yourself a cup of tea, get comfortable, watch us live on Red Bull TV. I'm Becky Evans. I'm going to be bringing you all the stories along with my commentators, Dave Evigan and Ian Waddington. Join us then at 6:50. We'll see you soon.